Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of I Was Thinking. I'm Simone.
And I'm Brianna.
And yeah, I already said welcome back to another episode. I gotta get better at my introductions. I never know what to say.
Gotta come up with like a catchy jingle or something.
Something, I don't know. But yeah, we're back.
There's no reason why they should have sold out of the tour merch. This is why you were here. And she's gonna get sad now. This is
Especially
why.
for me, because I got no permission to dance merch. Nothing.
Mhm.
I did get a photo card book, so I can put my photo cards in there that says permission to dance and a cute picture. But as far as like a t-shirt, nothing. Hoodie, what? What is that? Permission to dance. The only thing I was able to get was the Map of the Soul stuff, because apparently no one wanted to buy that. So I got a cute like long sleeve shirt, the tour hoodie, and another shirt from Map of the Soul. But like, you would have thought I went to the Map of the Soul concert and not the Permission to Dance concert.
Yes.
And like, I know I showed up late for both of them, because I wasn't going to wait in line for a t-shirt. I already know myself.
I'm weak.
I would have started some fights just from being irritated, tired, and hungry. And I'm not gonna ruin my chances of staying at the concert because I'm cranky. And I thought they would have enough. They even ran out of army bombs.
Yes.
And like, I felt so bad for Precious little sister Zaria, because that's really all she wanted for the concert, and she wasn't able to get any. Like, even K-pop stores we went to in the city, I mean, we only went to one, but like, they didn't have any either. I couldn't even use mine, and I'll tell you when we get to the actual concert. But that was my own dumbass fault why I couldn't use my army bomb. But I just felt so bad for her. She wasn't able to buy like one for herself. So, and they were sold out even before we got to LA, like sold out. Weverse.
That's the thing. It's Weverse. And I mean, I get it. Everybody flooded to Weverse to get their stuff. Cause a lot of I think everything, even the Permission to Dance merch on Weverse was sold out.
Gone.
It was interesting.
Nothing.
So on the opposite fact from Simone, my sister and I went at 7. So we actually got to LA the night before. So during day 1's concert, we got there.
Day 3.
Day 3's concert, we got there.
Sometimes I want to say that because I want to be like day 1, but it's technically like day 3.
Day 3,
November,
December 1st. We got there December 1st. We went from LAX to our hotel real fast, dropped that stuff off, and came straight to the venue because we were like, all right, we're going to be good. We're going to get our merch tonight while they're inside singing it up. We're going to be outside spending money, right? So we get up there and we get to the front of the stadium. So the very front that's facing the Forum. I think that's the front. If it isn't, sorry. And we walk up to
I don't think I even experienced the whole stadium because like, I know there was a huge sign where like, that said Permission to Dance, and I wanted to take a picture of it, but like just the way things were going, I'm like, child, this place is too big.
That line was like 4 hours long to take a picture with a sign. I was like, no.
Good thing I didn't go look for it.
I don't have that kind of time.
I don't.
But we walked to the first tent we saw. It was one of the big express ones. And you know, we noticed a lot of that stuff was kind of gone. I should have bought my pictures that night, like the giant pictures that they were selling, but whatever, I'll kick myself later. And we asked, like, hey, do you guys have smalls? Because that's what we were looking for. Small shirt, whatever, for Permission to Dance. They're like, oh, we sold out of all the Permission to Dance stuff. And I was like, well, at least those shirts. And I said, well, you know, are you going to have them tomorrow? And he goes, oh, yeah, we're going to restock tomorrow. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I guess we're just going to end up having to come here early. But me being me, I was like, let me buy some stuff now. So I bought one Permission to Dance hoodie because that was the only Permission to Dance thing they had. And then a Map of the Soul shirt for one of my friends. And we asked for army bombs. Sorry, we're sold out. And that was when I gave the look of like, you're sold out of army bombs?
Right, because like how before we started recording, like how you said, oh, I'll just get this stuff tomorrow. So like after day 3 of the concert, we actually did go into the merch line, but it was only to get Zaria an army bomb because we thought they had more. We didn't know they were sold out. So like I already saw there was some signs on some stuff that said, you know, sold out, but like there were still quite a few. So I was like standing in line after, I think we asked through like the grapevine of like people in front of us if they had more army bombs, and they told us no. I was like, okay, well, even though the plans didn't change because something personally happened to me, we'll get to that again a little bit later. I was like, okay, so maybe we'll just have to try to get here earlier to see if we can get Zarya an Army Bomb. And this, I like took a mental note of the numbers of the stuff that I wanted. So like once I get to the line, I could just tell them, you know, size, this merchandise, and then go. Didn't think they would sell out, but I had the same mindset as you. Like, I'll just get this tomorrow.
Right. I mean, like I said, the only thing I have to go back on is MetLife. Like, MetLife, they had 2 days, again, half the amount, but they didn't sell out anything. Like, they had everything. I was able to get everything on my list that I wanted. Army Bomb merch, pictures, flags, whatever. So it was, again, very shocking. They knew they had 4 days. They knew a lot of people were coming. And I think, again, when we came that night, we didn't realize that they weren't checking tickets. It didn't even occur to me, actually, walking up there, that they didn't have checking them yet.
I didn't go to like the main merch booth at MetLife because when we got our merch, it was one of the ones where you were already inside the stadium. So like they didn't ask. That's why when you kept saying that, I'm like, I didn't get asked if I had tickets for MetLife. But then I was like, well,
I could have sworn they did. Yeah.
I don't know. I went to a merch booth that was inside the stadium.
Again, 30 years old. I don't remember.
Girl, my sister said you're 30, like you're 80.
I remember walking. We had to go through like a security checkpoint, which again, SoFi didn't do until you got inside the stadium. MetLife, there was a turnstile kind of area where you walk through and they check your bags and stuff like that just to get into the parking lot to buy merch. This was before you get into the venue. So I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure they did check like tickets and stuff before we got in there for MetLife. But I mean, SoFi, I bought the little things that I had to buy. And then we just kind of were like, all right, there's an In-N-Out right next door. Let's go hang out there, which again, mistake number one. We should have just went home. Should have just went back to that hotel there because we had like an hour left, or not even, about 30 minutes before you guys got done and we just like, we'll get In-N-Out real fast and leave. No. Which comes to problem number, I don't know what number we're on. I enjoyed that concert so much. And again, that was the first time I had been around that many people since actually Eric Nam's concert was the last one I went to before the world ended.
Yeah, same with me. That was both of our last concerts.
Right.
It wasn't as big, but it's just like that concert experience of people seeing their favorites. To be around that
many people, to see to see somebody like you said you like, it was the first time, and it was so nice to just be out and to be around people who love the same thing, to sing songs, that
you're used to always listening to like in your headphones and sing them out loud with like other people, and then like you get to watch them freak out. Horribly. Girl, don't bring up karaoke. We did so bad. I'm ready for round 2 though. I'm ready.
I mean, whenever you're ready, we can have our own little concert.
We'll do more BTS songs though, because we didn't do as many when we went.
We didn't. And we weren't used to that setup yet, so
yes, we didn't know how to work it. But now that we know, I'm ready.
Yes, I'm here for it. We can sing UGG again and get 99% because we
No, we got 100. Remember, we got 100 on UGG. Yes, that was the only song we got 100 on.
They didn't do their subgroup songs. I mean, kudos to them because some of them went hard for 3 hours, 2 hours. I mean,
and they did all OT7 songs, and they said like being back, they wanted to do group songs, which I give kudos to them. Yes, and like the songs 100%. That they did too, a lot of it had hard choreography. I mean, they didn't do choreography for all of them, but the ones that they did,
they went hard. They went, and they had shout out to the lab for showing up and doing Permission to Dance and doing all the choreos that required large groups of people. They really came out and they put their heart and soul into this. And it was so apparent, and it was so nice to see that it meant a lot for them to be in front of fans again. And like I said, we did the Jin thing. Shout out to all the armies who, I mean, it had to have taken hours.
Yes, and I'm upset I got there late because I guess the gate that I got into, that's when the girl was giving out the thing. So also shout out to that army who planned that whole thing. So
I mean, there were 2. There was one that did the black Army Bomb cover.
Yes, for the moon, and then the heart ones.
And then the heart with Jin's name in it. I mean, we saw her out there for hours with boxes. I mean, 5, 6 boxes, and she was just making sure everybody got one. I mean, it was so nice. And like I said,
that's the first time I was like in a concert space, like celebrating like the artist I'm seeing's birthday. Like that was pretty cool. And like he was so emotional. Like I remember when he first saw, I don't know what he saw first. If it was the hearts,
moons.
Was it the moons
first?
Then when did he see the hearts? I think JK actually pointed out the hearts to him.
Which one? I know. Wait, when they came out dressed in white first, right?
So it was after they did like maybe.
It was the hearts first, I think. It was the hearts that they saw first, and then they saw the moons, because I remember that. He was dressed in full white, and they came out dressed in full white first for the hearts. So yeah, it was nice. It was so sweet. And like he said, he's like, I didn't want to get emotional because, you know, I still had a whole concert to go. And then
like, I don't think I ever saw him that emotional. Like I saw it when they showed him. I was like, oh my God, he's already like getting teared up.
Like, wow. Then he came out there with his little RJ tied to his head, and that's when they did the moon, and he was just like,
yes.
Wow.
And then that's when we
cute.
Successfully did the army wave better than day 3.
Oh yes, let's bring that up.
Oh God.
I would again like to reinstate that I was there day 4, so we didn't screw up as much as day 3.
I don't know why we couldn't get this down. So first of all, I was almost kind of like with MetLife with the confusion of the lights. So like when they were talking about, oh, we're going to do like the wave, I need you to get your light.
The camera light, right? Yeah.
Well, I think he just said, I need you to get your lights out. And then some people were getting their camera lights out. And he's like, I meant your army bombs. And that brought me back to MetLife when we were going to do Microchromos. Do you remember that? Where he's like, put up your lights. We all put up our army bombs. And he's like, I meant on your phone. And we're like, oh.
We're not good at following instructions.
Yo, we're really not. We all really do share like one brain cell. And it's amazing. Like, I don't have to know you. But like, for some reason, in this setting, we all share one brain cell.
Yep, 100%.
Like on day 3, and like I don't know if we were even practicing before or not, because you know how sometimes when like during
when we're waiting,
very beginning, or like when we're waiting during like the intermission before like the the what is it called, the
PCRs?
encore. We just do it randomly. Yeah. At least here in America, I don't know if any other places they go to do it randomly. I just know every time in America. For some reason,
we're obsessed with the wave a little bit too much. Any sporting event, we gotta do the wave. Anything, we're in a group of people with lights, we gotta do or just people. We gotta do the wave.
Like,
it's a thing.
It's just
and the woos go along. I don't know why. It's like built into us at this point. But I will say too, and again, I'm offering y'all a defense because I don't know what day 3 was like, but on day 4, it's hard to see. And again, this is different from MetLife. MetLife, we could look up and see all you could see the people above us. For SoFi, I don't know how it looked from the people below us, but we, up to a certain point, could not see. Like once it reached like maybe the middle of the stage area, the lights disappeared, and we were just going off of woos. Like when it got closer to us, like you just kind of had to assume. So that could have possibly been it. But you floor people, you had no excuse.
Like I could see the people in my like section in the same section around the thing, but like, and obviously I'm higher up, so I could see the floor. So I don't know if the people looking up could do the same or not. But like I remember when they first started, you know how they give us instructions like, okay, we're going to start on this side and go all the way around. So like when we count down, get ready. And then some people actually started before. He's like, they're like, no, wait, you guys gotta wait till we tell you to go. So like, of course, they turn off the lights. And then they count down, and then they start. And then at first it was fine, but then like for some reason, like the floor started going faster, and then like the 500 started slowing down, and the middle was like, I don't know where the middle was, and you could kind of hear it in the voices. They're like, come on, Army, like you guys can do it. And then we finished, and then they kind of all stood there like, we're gonna try that again. Floor, you were a little too fast. Remember, there's more sections higher up than you guys. So maybe this next time, just to slow down a little bit. So we'll start on the other side. Let's see if the other side can, and then we'll go back around. So then like we do it again, and like it was, I don't know how it got worse, but like it just got worse. Like, I feel like it took the 500 section like 5 minutes to start. Again, started off well, and then like the floor kind of just went, and then it was like the 100. So it was kind of like a weird like way following each other.
Right.
And then like
tsunami.
and then like you could just see it on their faces, and then like some of them were making noises. And what got me laughing so hard was like Namjoon kind of took a second. He did that like awkward smile he does sometimes. He sighed. He's like, okay, anyway, I think we're gonna go ahead and move on. And when I tell you, when he said that so passive aggressively, I wanted to die. I couldn't stop laughing. I was literally like hunched over because I was laughing so hard. And
it
like,
was the okay anyway. The give up.
It was the okay
defeat.
anyway. Let's move on. That got me because it's like when you have little kids and like they just show you stuff randomly, and you kind of have to sit there like, oh, that was cute. Okay, I saw it in that light. So like, I thought it was cute, but like I just never saw them so like passively aggressively disappointed. Oh, so funny. I'll never forget
day
that.
4 when they got to that again, we all kind of knew what happened. Day 3, we're like, ooh, all right, let's not mess this up, guys.
It was so bad. I don't know what it was like for day 1 and day 2,
the floor
but it was so
hilarious.
Bad.
Oh, it was great. He told that floor specifically, like, y'all, don't go too fast.
He was traumatized from 3-3. He's like, okay, floor, we discussed this yesterday. Slow down.
Yo,
oh my god.
It was great. It was
funny.
It was such a good night. It was such a good night.
But yes, let's get it. So we did that, and then I wasn't expecting it either because I didn't know if the stadium or like Hype/Big Hit planned anything for Jids, but like you hear it on my phone too. Like after I kind of film like all the waves like finishing at the end, and then all of a sudden it lights up Happy Jin Day. I just scream like Happy Jin Day.
Yeah, that was so cute.
And like everyone was so confused, and we all just start like screaming and then like singing Happy Birthday to him. I was like, oh, this is so sweet.
That was sweet. It was so
really
cute. It was such a nice, and I'm glad again that we got to do that for him. And then of course the next day, what does he throw out? Super tuna!
Super tuna! Go stream some super tuna!
He is so lucky that came out the day after the concert, because had it come out during concert time, I think he would have been so, I mean, as crazy and probably like, why in the world did I throw this on the internet that he is right now?
Yeah.
It would have been crazier there.
I still think he's like, why did I put this song out? Because I don't know if he knew it was gonna blow up as it did. Like, it's insane.
At this point, and this is another thing I'm going to say about them. We stand our humble kings, but don't y'all start Namjoon, I got a bone to pick with you about saying, like, I didn't think we'd, like, you've been on social media. You know how we are. Don't you show up there and say, I didn't think we'd be loved or nobody would show up.
God.
I'm like, bro, did you not see Ticketmaster trending about how pissed off we are that tickets can't be, like, bro, don't come here with this. I love I don't know if I should say that's humble or is that like, you know, you have backhanded compliments. It wasn't like rude. It was like a humble brag.
I don't think it was a backhanded compliment. I really think he meant that.
It's like a humble brag, but still coming off as humble. Like, maybe I shouldn't have said backhanded compliment, but it's like, it's a humble brag while he was crying and still trying to
when
be
they
humble.
talk, like, I could tell they really mean it. And I'm like,
yes.
Do you guys, I mean, I understand your start to how you got here was rough, but do you see where you are now? Like, the main reason a lot of people love you guys is because you are humble, but then sometimes it's kind of like, do you know who you are? You guys used to ask all the time, do you know BTS? Do you know BTS?
I was like, do you know BTS? Exactly. Do you know? And I feel like, and I'm going to bring up, again, no spoilers to Spider-Man, but what MJ says all the time, if you expect disappointment, then you know, when it happens, you won't be disappointed. Maybe it's a little bit of that. Like, if you expect the worst, then when the worst happens, you won't be disappointed. Like, I know fame is fleeting, but you can't tell me in the past year, getting #1 on Billboard however many times, getting Grammy nominations,
getting the record for most YouTube views twice, not
in
once,
1 year.
Twice.
And now you're still saying, like, I didn't think we'd show, like, get
I remember us talking about this in the car.
Because I know I sat there, and I think in my video I have him saying that on video. I said, "No, really?"
Yeah, I screamed that like when he said that. I was like, "No."
Yeah, no, get out of here with that. Oh, I didn't. I love you, and keep that humility.
Right.
But you know we would show out for this. You know we're showing up.
Especially the new fans you guys magically gather from Dynamite,
yes,
Butter, and Permission to Dance.
Yep.
Like, it's just out of this world at this point.
Yes. Oh yeah. Like I said, and I think pretty much everyone I sat next to was a new army.
Really?
Like the girl from Australia, pretty sure she was a new army. The girl on the other side of my sister, relatively new army. I think she said she was, I still consider Dynamite like a new army.
I mean, I don't even know if I'm really considered new at this point anymore or not.
Where were you? You were still in Love Yourself era. If you went to MetLife,
yeah, I was 2018.
You're not a pandemic army, put it that way.
Okay, I was late 2018.
Yeah, you're not so there's pandemic. That's what I consider new armies are the pandemic armies. The ones who got into BTS with their English songs primarily and with Dynamite.
Because like they were still kind of, when I got into them, they were kind of, still kind of blowing up in America, but not to this extent that they are at now.
They were just like, oh, there's something cool going on across the seas. Let's invite them.
People were kind of like talking about them like, oh, BTS, like this is kind of new. Like we should invite them over and stuff like that.
It was like, oh, wow, all I got is YouTube I can use right now to find it. and again, as an older army, and again, as a multi-stan, it's, and I said this in our not last, or maybe it didn't, one of the podcasts that I was in, it's been such a cool thing to see the growth that K-pop has had since I've gotten into it, which again was back in like the 2009, 2010 era to now. I mean, you can't even compare. Like I was telling you,
y'all had to like search. I didn't talk about this when me and Macy did like 21, because like I was saying some stuff of like things that came out that never showed the light of day. And like I keep forgetting, like it was almost kind of hard if you weren't in Korea to really find this stuff. Not even just like the technology that we had, but like
crazy shipping prices. Put it that way. I mean, not that that's changed a lot, but there was like U.S. store, right? Like there was no U.S. store where you could pay still $20 in shipping, but at least it wasn't $50. Like or
like you couldn't go into Walmart to find like a K-pop album.
God,
like
no.
Walmart? Who would have thought?
Oh my God, no. So, and it was funny. I was talking to my friend Kaylin, who stands ATEEZ. That's her alt group. And we were talking about how back in the day when, Pandora was our primary source of music.
And you brought that up on when we first introduced you, I believe, like, because I asked you how you got into K-pop.
Yes, that was it. Like, you didn't know. It was back before, learning names and learning groups. It was just like, oh, it would show up. And again, it was BoA that would show up for me. And then I made a BoA station. Then you had Girls Gen 21. All these groups would show up. And I didn't even make the connection, the difference between Japanese and Korean. It was just like, oh, this is cool.
Right.
And I will say, I knew who G-Dragon was, knew Big Bang, knew all of those big groups. Because as an anime fan, you kind of mix in with like K-pop and that stuff. A lot of anime fans love K-pop. And for the reason of when you listen to anime openings, at least back when Pandora was a thing, you'd get recommendations for
because that's when K-pop. They all kind of group basically every East Asian thing together.
All the Asians, all the anime lovers will like this, And I mean, I was talking to Kaylin and she's like, remember when you had to go to LimeWire to download any type of music? I mean, that was true for, American stuff too. But, to find K-pop stuff, you couldn't really go onto iTunes, and you couldn't go onto, now I'm aging myself, Rhapsody and find these songs. Like you really had to deep dive and go onto the illegal websites to find them. And it really wasn't until Psy with Gangnam Style that it started to be like, what's going on over there for a lot of Americans and inviting them over. Like I said, I will never forget, I think it was 2012, don't quote me, when Girls Gen went on to David Letterman and performed The Boys. And I was like, what? Like, oh my God, that was huge.
Right.
So it's so awesome to be able to to just say to people, oh, I'm going to a BTS concert, and again, you'll have the handful like, who? Or, oh, wow, they're actually performing here.
Or like
and
that
it's like,
Korean group, right?
Right, they know, like,
I get that all
those
the
Asian
time from
boys
my-
you love. The Chinese boys you love.
My God.
First, they're Korean, but sure. Actually, that happened to me this past week. God bless her. I love her. One of the people I work with, she was like, oh, are those Chinese boys? And my heart just went, yeah, the Korean guys.
At least I'm around people where at least they know they're Korean, so like they'll just say Korean boys, and I'm like, well, actually, these are grown ass men, but sure.
Thank you.
First
right,
of all,
exactly. I was like, I'll let that one go because I love my job. So yeah, no, it was the Korean guys. Yeah, I do. God. Just like, all right, whatever. At least you got the continent, I guess. They're Asian. They're over
East
there.
Asian.
Close enough.
Okay.
They're close enough.
Oh God, so many things.
Yeah, that was an interesting one, but it's been so. I never would have thought back in 2015, 2014, getting into BTS that I would have been able to go to 2 of their concerts. Again, never would have thought outside of KCON and random little events that they have that they would be performing here, doing tours sold out.
Right. And stadiums, like football stadiums.
Beating out, or almost beating out Bruce, or did they beat Bruce Springsteen's record? I forgot what that was of the amount of money made in.
I heard they beat someone's record, but I didn't hear.
I think they're just under Bruce Springsteen. But again,
Okay.
Bruce Springsteen did multiple shows all around the country. This is 4 days. So that's saying something in one location.
Right.
I mean, who would have thought? If you had asked anybody a few years ago, would this have happened? I think everybody would have looked at you and been like, nah. It was a segmented group of people, and now you pretty much everybody, unless you live under a rock, which apparently there's still people that do, knows at least BTS.
Yeah.
And I'm glad and I'm happy to see all these other groups coming and trying to, like, Monsta X has been doing a lot of stuff. NCT's been trying to come and break it up. Obviously, with Super M, they've been trying to come in. I love it. I love it. And here's to all of it.
It's fun.
Like, with all the dancers.
There is one song I say it's like a BTS song, but it's not really a BTS song that I know I will never, ever see in person.
Don't you say it.
What
is it the one I'm thinking?
What are you thinking?
Nah, go ahead and say what you're gonna say. I'm not gonna say it.
Come back home.
Oh, okay. No, it's not that one.
What do you think I was gonna say?
It's gonna permit. Nope.
Okay,
It's a forbidden request that.
Now I'm curious. Maybe tell me once we're done recording.
It's an old army request. I'll tell you when we get off.
Okay, I would really like to see Come Back Home, even though I know I would never ever see it.
I do love Come Back Home.
I would like to see some things from like Dark and Wild. Maybe let's get Second Grade back up here.
Second Grade, yeah. I would love to see
Hip Hop
that.
Filet.
Yes.
Danger.
What did you say? What did you call it?
What?
What did you call it?
Oh, what?
Nah, say what you said earlier.
I said Danger.
No, the hip hop one. What'd you say?
How do you say it?
It's File.
Is it really File?
I was like, hip hop filet.
I always say filet.
Please keep saying that. It's my favorite.
It was like, why is it called File?
Somebody's hungry. Go to Chick-fil-A. That's what you want.
Shut up. Anyway. Well, that's really
my favorite
embarrassing
now.
because I think when we played the game, I called it filet. Oops, my bad.
It's great. No, that is now the official name.
I call it hip hop filet, so. So the concert was great. It was great seeing them again, even though I was high up. I was still there. I got to experience it. It's fine. I will manifest, pray for it, especially if they come to Florida. I will get those floor seats and see. But that was another thing I was thinking about. Like, I want floor, but I don't know if I want to be close enough to if any of them can see me because
I want them now.
well,
We doing it.
okay. I was gonna say because like of course I will record some things, but like I like going to concerts to dance. So like I kind of feel like especially if my song comes on and if any of them kind of see me dancing and acknowledge me, I might kind of just dig a hole right where I'm standing and just be fine
for it. Like I said, I have touched hands with ATs. I have screamed big titties at Eric. The only other concert I've been to that I haven't been able to make, I was on the floor, but they weren't able to see me, was NCT. If I get floor at BTS and close enough to where if I am dancing like a lunatic and they point me out, I will live for it. I will live.
I mean, I'll live for it and like get embarrassed, but like, no, I don't know.
Not at all.
I'm just such a shy person.
Nah, not for them. No, not for them. I'll wild it out.
You bring in the sign twerk for BTS? Is that what you're doing?
Yes. If I can bring that in. Look, the girl who got the wow with J-Hope in the center got noticed. Got another meme made out for J-Hope because of her sign. If I can create a meme, or if I can be noticed, remembered, whatever.
Yeah, I remember when we were like online for the first half of 2021, was it, or 2022? 2022. It was so boring and lonely, but like it's nice to be able to go and at least see people.
Was it not 2020?
Huh?
Was it not 2020 are you talking about?
I'm talking about 2020 because that was the first time they moved school to online, like completely.
Okay, you said you didn't know if it was 2021 or 2022. We just started 2022.
Pandemic for too long.
Hey, listen. What is my catchphrase? Time is an illusion.
Take a shot every time she says that.
Y'all would be blacked out for like 5 days.
But yeah.
Continue to feast though, I'm sorry.
I will say though, I feel like people's behavior has been improving ever so slightly, but it is improving. Like you don't hear a lot of cases of people just, hurling themselves at someone else because someone said no.
Being in the customer service industry, I'm not so sure I agree with that.
Yeah.
People are so trigger happy.
Or maybe I'm just not paying attention to the news. I don't know.
Have you ever worked a customer service job, Nafis?
Huh?
Have you ever worked a customer service job like in a restaurant or like retail?
Actually, no, I take that back. I think it was this year.
Okay.
when I saw a video of a lady throwing like soup in somebody's face. I think that was this year. Never mind. Scratch that.
Yeah. Even
People
before
are
the
so
pandemic, me and Macy
trigger-happy.
could tell you, it hasn't gotten better.
It's gotten worse.
But to answer your question, no, I have not.
Okay.
I don't think I would last in that kind of job, honestly. My anxiety would take over and I'd like panic all the time.
Yeah.
It's
I
very
honestly am surprised that I'm still here.
Oh, same.
After all of the stuff that's like people, I think I have like one of those like demeanors that people like can't yell at me, but people are definitely rude. Like I've never had somebody scream at me. Well, on the phone I have when I worked because I did the insurance thing too, just home insurance, not health insurance, but and I answered the phones and I've had people scream at me on there. But as far as like somebody in like that I'm checking them out like at a store, I haven't had anybody scream at me, but people are really rude.
They're rude and very passive aggressive. So,
Right.
because like they get defeated, I've learned to like you still kind of have to try to talk to them with a smile because that's their way of like giving up. So they know they like are not getting under your skin, but it's still hard because like I want to cuss back at you too, but I can't. I could, but try not to lose this job to pay my bills.
Yeah, I kind of just pretend like they're not yelling at me. Like I talk to them how I would if they weren't yelling at me. So I'm like,
That is so sad.
just chill out because you're not going to get a response from me. That's the best way to handle it. That I'm not getting agitated with the fact that you're agitated with me.
Or just stop caring.
That's so sad that like you have to create this whole scenario. Not you, but I mean like everyone in that position
No, yeah.
would have to like create these mental scenarios so they don't lose it.
Like my last 2 days, I was training a girl who just started. So she was telling me how she worked at a Hardee's like down the street. And like there's just no one there because they didn't want to work, which is understandable. But like she would work full days, sometimes going like 5 a.m. to close at like 11 at night. And just like, even though the pay was good, but like no one just wanted to work. And then like customers are just getting mad because there's no one working. So like they're yelling at them because like their food's not there on time since it's fast food and things like that. And like before she started working the job I just left, like everyone just basically walked out that day. So
That's crazy.
and like it's interesting, like 2 years ago, like government's like, oh, you guys are essential workers. And then when they started putting us back to work, we're back to being like burger flippers, don't know what we're doing with our lives. Why are we asking for $15 an hour, which we still can't live on? Because the jobs that we do apparently aren't that important, even though, as you could see, when people aren't working these jobs, everyone that's rich and don't know how to pick up just a simple fork don't know what to do with their lives. Just saying. I rant over.
Right.
all my service and customer service job people understand what I'm saying. We appreciate you guys here. We salute you. Like even when I got into retail, like I just started making sure I, at least if I ask for help, thanking people, because like besides just the job itself, you just don't know what people are going through. Why do some people try so hard just to make other people's lives like hard?
Yeah, the only thing I'm confused about is like, where did everybody go? Because I know that like, you know, people have been living off of like unemployment and everything, and I don't blame them for necessarily not wanting to go back to it because it sucks. But like, I had to go back because I needed to make money again. So I'm like, where are all the people that were doing these jobs before? Like, are they just like, where did they go? You know what I mean? Like, why?
Some may have
Why
died.
are there?
Yeah,
well,
honestly,
true.
some could have gotten COVID or
Yeah, but there also are like new people that are becoming teenagers that are like the typical people that would work there. Like people are still having kids and they're still getting older. So like, why is there such a shortage of people to work? Because it's like I couldn't just do that. I had to go back and earn money. So
they could also be getting different types of jobs. I mean, I feel like there's so many jobs now that's starting to turn remote.
yeah,
I really don't know.
That's great, but there's a lot of people in the world, and like there's a lot of people that need those kind of jobs. So like, where the heck did they all go?
I mean, it's
That's what
also,
I'm confused about.
I don't know, like maybe they also could be like sad to say like getting homeless, but like even with the
I don't know the statistics. I need to
I
like
don't know
figure
the
out.
statistics either, because I know just from watching like my job, like we kept complaining how there's a shortage of like housekeepers or front desk people, but then sometimes there were people that would come in and do an application and they wouldn't get the job because like they just didn't want to hire them. I'm like, you guys are screaming you need help, but when help comes you don't give them a chance. I'm confused.
I feel like that could be the biggest reason, because I've noticed that too a lot in like education. Like people will come, but they won't give them like that main job. They'll give them like an assistant job or something, but we'll still be at a shortage. That makes sense.
Like I was looking for a job since, even though I currently had a job, I was looking for a new job since what? I think July?
yeah.
I'm looking for a while, and it's January now.
Yeah, it's just surprising to me. Like there's shortages literally everywhere. Like every sign and on a business in my town says hiring, and each week or each month, like the price of how much they'll give you goes up. So I'm like, where the heck are all the people that lost their jobs at the beginning of this? Like, are they just staying on unemployment, or are they doing something else, or like what happened? Like, why is there so much shortage like everywhere? I guess is my question.
That is a good question, because unemployment is not it's not the same.
I thought it ran out in Florida. I thought they stopped giving it.
Yeah, they stopped giving the pandemic one.
And it's not enough to live on. So like that wouldn't be an option for me to like just not do anything.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I know when they stopped giving the pandemic like the $600 a week, that's when I was like, okay, I was like, yeah, okay, I really need to look for something that's more sustainable now. That's a really good point to bring up.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, I wouldn't want to go back either working at the really hard retail jobs, especially with like how people act. But at the end of the day, if you didn't, go down another avenue while the pandemic was happening, like, wouldn't you need to get your job back?
I have heard a lot of people are opening up their own companies,
businesses.
businesses.
Yeah, that
so
too.
that could be it too.
Yeah.
I'm sure people are moving to social media as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that the follow-up question to that is, where are they getting their money to start their own business if they were living off unemployment? I'm like,
may have
how do
saved
you?
it from like the stimulus check or
Yeah.
unemployment. Who knows?
Or this new stupid cryptocurrency that I am still confused to this day on how to use. And I don't think I'm jumping on that train. So Bitcoin and all that.
Right. I guess I'm not innovative enough, but
Cryptocurrency, I kind of understand, but NFTs, what even?
I'm still confused to this day what an NFT is. Like, I don't want to be sitting here like, why is everyone complaining it's bad? But like, I just want to know, like,
So
if it
from
really
my
is that bad. I can't
understanding-
find anything.
From my understanding, NFT is like a digital version of a physical thing. So you know how we have like digital money now, which is basically cryptocurrency?
Yes.
So this digital like item called an NFT is backed by that digital money. So it's all like virtual stuff, simply put.
But all I see when people are talking about why it's bad is because of the environment. So that's why I'm really concerned. Like,
Yeah.
how is it bad for the environment for stuff we already like are doing now?
Yeah. I haven't researched it that far, but yeah.
I hadn't heard the environment thing. I don't know. I don't really know anything about it. But I saw one girl on TikTok. She was like, I think her girlfriend pointed the camera and was like, explain it to me. And she's like, well, basically, like, if you're a man, first of all, you have to be a man and you have to be at the like top of the hierarchy already. We're going to give you this imaginary man that you own, but you don't really own it, but we're going to say that you own it.
Yeah.
I'm like confused. Like,
I'm
what does that even mean?
Because like, do we ever actually really own things to begin with?
What is
Is
money?
that too deep
I
of
don't
a
know.
question to ask?
No.
It's all stuff that we've made up to mean things. So, who knows?
Like the apps I have now, like, say yes, they're technically mine, but like I don't actually really own them.
Yeah, it's just something intangible that you paid money for
You pay for these.
that could be deleted at any point.
Yeah, that's like with streaming services now. Like, yes, I can access it anytime, but like, what if there's a movie I saw 2 months ago and I want to rewatch it? I can't do that because they deleted it to make space for new stuff.
Yeah, so you've used something that you've paid for, but technically you can't use it again because they've already gotten rid of it. So like, but how much, like what you paid for it, I guess wasn't enough to own it forever? Like, what does that even, I don't know.
It's so weird.
I just think of it as a payment for use. Like, doesn't involve owning or anything.
But like, but if me and you paid the same amount for something that we use, but I use it 20 hours a month and you only use it 5 hours a month, should we be paying the same amount?
She cracked the code, guys. She cracked the code.
My God, it can't keep up.
I'm sorry.
Macy, words of wisdom. That is a good question, though.
But you know, they've actually started making Indian versions of a lot of like the popular Disney shows too. So that was interesting to know, to learn.
Yeah, I've noticing we're kind of crossing into, you know, we're kind of in this new era where like even here there's a bunch of remakes of like movies and TV shows like they're very popular like back in the early 2090s or even further, and they're remaking them, and now we're getting to the point to where there's remakes on an international board. Like I keep hearing that one famous Korean show Sky Castle, they're apparently supposed to be making an American version of that. We'll see how that goes. There's been other well, there's been other like stuff like that where they've remake. Like I remember texting Brianna. I don't remember how we got on this topic, but we mentioned that, and I mentioned the movie Old Boy, where Spike Lee made Old Boy back in 2013, which is a 2005 Korean movie of the same name. I think it's called Old Boy. Yeah, it's called Old Boy. Just stuff like that. So that's not surprising me anymore either.
There was an American remake, The Good Doctor.
And they keep saying they want to remake Train to Busan. They better not. So I will riot if I see an American remake of Train to Busan.
Oh my gosh. I think we should just let the Koreans do the zombie apocalyptic stuff because they really have mastered it.
They do a pretty good job of it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I know Macy don't watch that, but you're missing out.
I have nothing to add to that.
Listen, they make some good zombie movies, okay?
Apparently the new show that they released on Netflix, what is it called?
Today.
All of Us Are Dead, right? That's the title?
Yes. Which I heard isn't real. It's like they don't understand where they got that title from because the Korean title, like when it's translated, it doesn't mean the same thing. And I remember that's being a big criticism of Netflix when Squid Game was really popular, how like Netflix isn't really, they're being really lazy with the subtitles as far as the translation and stuff like that, which I understand there's some stuff that's hard to translate all the way through. But even I noticed that like when I'm watching certain things on Netflix, when they translate like words that I've picked up because I'm studying it, I'm like, that's not what they said, or like that's not what that word means. So like watching this movie, I don't know if that was the same because I don't know Hindi and this is my first time really hearing it. So I'm like, oh, I hope these translations of the subtitles are like close to accurate, which kind of is. And I'm going to ask you now before I forget, is it common to switch back and forth like they were doing in that movie? Because at first it was throwing me off really badly, like when they're going from Hindi to English, and I was like,
yeah, it's super common.
It is? Okay. I was so confused.
Because you have to remember, India was colonized by the British, so there's a lot of like English word replacements for Hindi words. So it's very common to go back and forth between Hindi and English. Like I do it all the time.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because I don't know about you guys, but since I know you both have studied Korean a little bit more than I have, but when I watch anime or I watch K-dramas, I'm listening to what they're saying. Like I'm hearing everything, but at the same time, I'm kind of focused on the subtitles. So my inner monologue, like I can hear myself reading the subtitles. So when they were switching back and forth and there weren't any subtitles, I'm like, was I listening? I don't know if I heard what they said in English because I was so focused on reading the subtitles, and the voice in my head is a little bit louder than what I'm hearing on the screen. So like, I don't know if you, Simone, or if you had trouble with like switching back and forth because I kind of quiet what the show is saying and listen to myself reading the subtitles. Or
I think because since I started watching, like I'm not gonna lie, I don't watch a lot of English or American shows anymore. Like I have been the past maybe 2 years watching a lot of international shows, whether it is like more anime or like Korean drama. So I think I've gotten to the point where like I have been able to do both at the same time, like read and then watch, and then also while I'm listening, especially if I'm watching Korean dramas, I surprisingly like try to listen to the Korean more to see if I can understand what they're saying without really having to watch the subtitles to see if the subtitles are like accurate to what they're actually saying or not, if that makes sense.
Right. I definitely watch way more international shows now. Like I don't watch TV in general, and I've gotten much better at reading subtitles where I can like, they're in the like the bottom of the screen, but I don't need to be looking directly at them. Like I can be watching and picking up what they're saying. But like I don't always like with this movie, this was a new language for me. So I went back to like, I went back to like the way that I used to read it, to where like I'm kind of more focused on the subtitles and like less listening to what they're actually like. I'm listening, but I'm not picking up the like individual words as much as
like
I
you're
would
blocking
with like
out the actual language, but you're more focused on the reading. So like if it was muted, you'd probably still watch it because you're just focused on reading. I get that.
Right. Where with Korean, it's like I know a lot of like the common phrases, like "Are you hungry?" "How are you feeling?" Are like stuff like that, or like pronouns, like I've mom, dad, sister, brother. Like I pick up on all that stuff that I don't need to like read it. Where when it was switching back and forth, I was so focused on the translation that when it would switch to English, I'm like, I don't think I heard what they just said.
I get that.
I will admit they do it kind of quickly though.
It was so fast. I was like, so they say one thing in Hindi and then English. I was like, wait.
Yeah.
But that's why I had to watch it a
should've warned you
second
guys about that,
time.
actually.
I was about to text you, but I was like, maybe I'll save this for the podcast, because I'm like, is this an actual common thing, like in actual India, or is this like a movie thing? But it would make more sense if this is common, like a real thing.
No, like
Yeah.
I personally do it.
And they didn't like subtitle the English either. So like it would just
So if they
disappear.
spoke in English, it was just they spoke in
Yeah.
English. Sometimes they did though, because there's some points where they said
Yes.
the exact subtitle in English.
If there was a word in the middle of the sentence that was English, they would put it. But if it was a whole sentence in English, it just wasn't subtitled. So like I would be like, oh, where'd it go? And then my brain would realize that that was English. So
You know, actually, as a person who watches Hindi movies, that's not something that I noticed myself doing. Like, you know how you mentioned, like, you always have to train yourself to go back to English? Like, for me, it was just such an easy transition because, like, I hear it all the time. But I didn't realize it would be, like, more of a problem for someone
I was
who's,
gonna
like,
say, 'cause
new to the language.
You grew up with the language, right?
Yeah.
So
I grew up with the language, but I don't know how to write it, and I don't know how to read it. I can just speak it.
right. Well, that's kind of like my grandma. She is from Germany. She grew up there. She spent most of her like young adult life there, and then she moved to America. And so when she speaks, a lot of the time it's in broken German and English. And even though I would not consider myself fluent in German, but I've heard her speak it so much that I pretty much know what she's saying. But she switches back and forth between German and English like nothing. So like I'm used to that, but it's a language that I was around and that I heard. So that makes sense that you wouldn't have a problem with that because, you know, like you're so used to the switch. And by the end of the movie, I was getting the hang of it. But at first I was like, I need to go back.
yeah,
I didn't hear what they said.
That first 10 to 15 minutes, I was kind of like, what? That might be just like a bilingual thing, maybe. And that's why, like, especially with studying another language, I have to. I don't know if they tell you that or not, because that's a point where I have to get, like, when I'm learning the language, I want to try to get to the point where I don't have to rely of going back to English to see if I understand it. And I can just hear the original language and be able to understand it. So that also is taking a while. Not to mention that I always stop back and forth and I'm trying to do like 3 at once on my own time. But, you know.
Oh, what 3 are you doing?
Well, my main focus right now, because I've been studying it for so long, is Korean. But like I would like to know Japanese a little bit, and I always wanted to. That one's a little bit harder because when they start getting to the kanji characters, I'm kind of, because it's Chinese characters but like pronounced like in that still confuses me. And kind of want to go back to try to learn Spanish again, even though I feel like high school kind of like not turned me off to Spanish, but like especially where I live, like in being in Florida, you know, we have a lot of Hispanics here, and I know in my old job, like when we have Spanish, like guests come in, like I always wanted to try to like speak to them in Spanish so they understood, but like I barely know anything, so it's just stuff
Spanish
like that.
would definitely be the most useful here, I think.
Yeah.
Just because it's so
Spanish
common.
Yeah, it's on my list too. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. I was just going to say a lot of places will even pay you more at your job if you can speak Spanish because you can accommodate more people. So, because it's so common here.
Yeah.
Like you would think Spanish should be my second that I want to learn, but just because, like I said, I've been studying Korean for so long and I feel like I've learned so much, I don't want to lose what I've learned. So I'm nowhere comfortable with speaking it, but like I can read it pretty well. And I can understand like the individual words a little bit better, but I can't translate it that quickly. So
That's a
I just don't want to lose my progress.
pretty good position to be in.
Yeah, I still have a long way to go. Like if I'm probably at like first grade level, if I'm being honest. But it's better than nothing.
For us, that would be considered intermediate, though, because you're not beginner.
No, I'd say I'm probably between like advanced beginner and like intermediate. Like I still have trouble trying to form sentences on my own, but I pretty much know the basic sentences now, and I know a couple complex sentences, but like you try to talk to me in a paragraph and you lose me. So anything more than like 3 consecutive sentences, I'm kind of like, okay, wait.
Keep it short and sweet.
And one, slow down, because like I feel like every other language besides English speaks so fast. So that's another thing too. I'm not used to the fast pace. But I don't
Right.
know if that's because I'm a native English speaker. I think we speak slow and we might actually speak fast. Like if there's anyone that's listening to us who's not that strong in English might think now that I'm speaking pretty fast, but I don't think I am. It's just one of those
they
things.
say English is the hardest language to learn, but I think that's because of all of like the double meaning words. You know
And
what I
the
mean?
structure
Like,
of
there's
it.
like 3 words that are exactly the same that all mean different things.
There,
I think-
and there.
Yeah, I
That's
think
just one.
like the range of words is like really big, but English itself, I don't know.
Yeah, English itself is pretty tough. And then when you kick in like the slang words, it's like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like when I speak to people that don't understand English that well, I have to remember, like, I don't realize I speak in so much slang than I actually do. So I have to catch myself there. And especially just like, I don't know if I ever told you this, Nafis, but I remember one time working at the library and these 2 girls made like, you know, a reservation for one of the study things that we had. So I was like, okay, did you like book a session in the study rooms? And they didn't understand what I meant when I said book the room. So that also is kind of slang in itself.
But how else would you make that? Or you would probably just say, did you make a
Reserve.
reservation? Yeah.
Or, yeah, reserve.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. That's true. That's something that you have to like think about to catch yourself.
because
Yeah.
they were getting confused. They thought I meant like the actual books like behind me. So they didn't know what I meant by like, oh, you booked time for the study room. I forgot what they called it.
I can see why that would be confusing. It's like, I'm here for a study room. Why is she asking me about books?
Why? Yeah.
That makes
And
sense.
it took me a while.
Oh, all right. So going back to the main point,
Off our
I'm just going to give
language
a
lesson.
short synopsis.
I mean, it all goes with the movie, though.
Huh?
No, Macy's like off with our language discourse. I'm like, but it still goes because we're talking about an international movie.
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's true. So it all
yeah, we
fits.
had a point there. We're just bad at tangents.
yeah, we are. We go on like 10-minute
Tangents
to 50-minute
are what
tangents.
make conversations fun, guys. Okay,
Right.
so the more the merrier.
What keeps them interesting?
Yes.
Before we do any more new groups, I felt like it'd be appropriate to kind of do like a catch up on the groups we already did to see like where they are now, where we left off, like after we played the game, things like that. So
Yeah, because we always start each one of those episodes with a little bit of research on the groups and
except for BTS, which I kind
Well,
of feel
yes.
bad for. And I'm like, I mean, I feel like in my hearts of heart, everyone knows them, but like sometimes
Yeah.
not everyone does. And
I also feel like the reason that was our first episode, so we really hadn't gotten in our groove of what we wanted to do with it.
that's
And
true.
also, they just have so much music. That was like 4 episodes long, just getting through the songs, like not messing
Technically
around
5.
with anything. Yeah, technically 5. So like, that's a lot of content
That is.
to get through. And I don't know if spending 30 minutes talking about just them in general when most people know who they are, especially if they're listening to an episode about them. I don't know. And we talk about them all the time. So like we get
Yeah.
things, you know, I don't think it was as necessary with them. But
I didn't think so either. I just wasn't sure because I felt bad because we didn't do our little introduction of like, oh, here's the members, here's their names, the company they're from, how they built their company. Because we all know they built Hive, but don't argue with me on that because we all know
Right.
it's true.
yeah.
Things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's fine.
Because technically we talked about all the members when we talked about our concert experience. And then we've
Did
talked
we do
about
that?
the...
You know, I haven't listened to
yeah.
like early episodes in a while. Like, because when I did the 2021 recap, it was only episodes we put out in 2021, and it pretty much started with the BTS game. So like the ones before that, I kind of haven't listened to. I'm kind of afraid to listen to because
Yeah, I mean, we didn't talk about, like, we didn't go in depth with each person, but I know for a fact we said each person's name, and then we filmed like a extra thing to put in because we didn't talk about, I don't remember which person it was now, but we didn't talk about one person. I think it may have been Jin. We didn't talk about him a whole lot, so we recorded like a snippet and put it in there. But yeah, I think we tried to talk about each member in
I
that.
mean, further stages though, we didn't talk about like like the other groups, like their start and
they would have
stuff.
heard each person's name,
That's true.
and like that's what I said. Like we didn't go in depth with each person, but we talked about each person, like their name and stuff.
And like Macy also says, we also talk about them a lot outside the game. I'm pretty sure there's
I feel like every episode we do, if BTS isn't mentioned at least once, it's not an I was thinking episode. I'm sorry, but
and it's usually me that breaks it up. So we have like what? We have 2 episodes just dedicated on their B album, and me and Brianna has like an almost 3-hour episode on the
there's
concert.
plenty of BTS content on this channel, so like.
And I said that, like, literally, I think in the trailer before we even started making episodes, I was like, if I bring up the 3 letters BTS, you know, you're just gonna have to get used to it.
Just accept it. It's just
accept it at this
here.
point. I can't help it.
So anyway, needless to say, I think we've talked about them plenty. Anything we talk about more is just going to be extra. So
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah,
but yes. On September 24th, BTS released a collaboration song with the famous British band Coldplay. The song was also reached #1 on Billboard Hot 100, and it was Coldplay's first song to hit the Hot 100 since 2008. So since 2008, they haven't had a song reach American Hot 100 #1. So
they literally play this song at my work all the time.
Oh, do they really?
So excited. Yeah, I get so excited.
You know, I actually don't hear Universe that much out in public. Surprisingly, one time I went out, this is an older song. I think the Macy's store in my area was closing down, and we were shopping, you know, like the last minute giveaway, like get it now before we're gone. And I heard Wasted on Me being played in the store.
Oh yeah. So yesterday, there's 3 songs that I've heard that are K-pop related. It was Universe. They play TXT's Magic a lot at my work.
Really?
Yeah.
It is all in English, though. That's surprising. Yes, I understand that,
and then I heard a Jackson Wang song yesterday.
Really? Did you get excited?
Let Me Love You or whatever. I'm forgetting.
You know, that is a good retail song, to be honest.
Yeah. So I was so excited. I'm like, why does this person sound familiar? And then I like stopped what I was doing. I'm like, this is Jackson Wang playing in my work.
Don't you love that? Like sometimes we gotta stop and like look around. You know, that happened to me one time too in college. I was at a YMCA that we were able to use for free because it was associated with the college. And I was working out, and I think I stopped my music, and all of a sudden I could have sworn I heard Fake Love being played, and I was like, wait a minute, my phone's not playing. And I took out my headphones, and they were playing Fake Love at the YMCA. Wow. I know.
That's impressive.
That is impressive. I was also in Orlando, so like
there must be an army.
They had to have been, because Fake Love and like, you know, there's no English version of Fake Love. So it's like, who is the secret army here? Mm-hmm. I see they're, you know, they're easy to point out if you know what you're looking for.
Right. As far
we're
as
everywhere.
Our work goes, like, I'm pretty sure all our music is done by corporate, though. So there's nobody, because there is, you know, people who know BTS that I work with, but they don't have anything to do with what music is playing.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty cool. And I was very surprised by the Jackson song, because I heard his voice and I'm like, that sounds like Jackson Wang, but there's no way it is, right? So I stopped what I was doing.
Yeah, that's cool that they're also playing like other K-pop groups, or just like, I mean, I don't think Jackson would be considered K-pop anymore, but still.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely turning into more mainstream, but that's where he started from. So I just like hearing him doing the crossover stuff.
That's really cool. Like the laws, I don't know how COVID's going over Europe, so I'm not sure if this is going to get postponed or not, but we have until May. What is 3 months away? Yeah. I should know this. May, that's when I'll be turning the big 25.
A couple months for me, and I don't feel any different, so I
probably won't either. But like, it's just the mental thing. Like, I still don't feel like, I don't even feel like I'm 24. I still feel like I'm like 16.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah, 25, guys. But that's it for Yu-Gi-Oh! So hopefully it goes well. I'm not sure if it's like a concert or just like a fan meetup, or like if it's going to be with other people. But look out for Yu-Gi-Oh! Meets Germany.
Lucky Germany.
Right? Can you do a Yu-Gi-Oh! Meets Florida?
Right? Just
please. Florida.
We don't get anything good. Come on.
I'm so upset that I have to miss One Us in a couple
Yeah.
weeks. If I didn't start my new job, I'd be there in a heartbeat, but I can't go see them because they'll be in Orlando on the 22nd. Probably either around the time this episode comes out or after, but I'm missing One Us. And I already missed
At least we get to go
ATs.
see Eric Nam. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that will be fun.
I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. Hopefully we'll do an episode on that. I'm not sure if it'll be like concert and the game, because I know we wanted to play the game with him also, or if it'll just be talk about the concert. And we'll get Bran on that as well, because she's also going to be there. So see, he seems to be having a fun time for what I can see
He's
from the
so
pictures.
freaking funny. Anytime I see him talking about anything, oh my gosh. Because I see clips of him at his concerts all the time on TikTok. He's basically it's basically a stand-up comedian that also sings.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what an Eric Nom concert is. It's basically you're just going there for a stand-up comedian who occasionally dances and sings like every like 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah. No, I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay, but that is all the members of GOT7.
Yay.
I'm just going to say this now. I am sorry in advance if I butcher the Korean language, like I've been doing. I'm trying, and also just because this is in a language that, I mean, the three of us watched Korean, shows, but like we discussed when we did the Bollywood one, some things could be lost in translation. So we are like, as far as our understanding, going off of like the English translations and maybe some understanding of some Korean words we know. Just in case we talk about something and it was like mistranslated or wasn't translated correctly. I just felt like I should say that. So, but yeah.
Be warned.
Yeah, be warned.
Yeah, be warned.
And I'm going to be doing a lot of talking again. Y'all know how that goes.
It's okay. It makes for great content.
My stumbling makes for great content. Thanks, Nafis.
That's not what I said. I said our rants lead to other conversations,
I
which
didn't hear
leads
that.
to great content. Yeah.
It's all jokes. It's all jokes. It's all love here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. So the film adaptation was directed and written by Park Hyun-jin. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about the cast. So Jung Ji-woo is played by Seo Hyun, or So Ju-hyun, who I didn't know this, K-pop fans don't come for me, is a member of Girls' Generation. So...
Oh, she did look super familiar, but I did not know that. I'm like, why have I seen her before?
You might have seen her in an old Girls' Generation music video. I don't know. I definitely did not recognize her, but I also haven't watched a lot of Girls' Generation, like... music videos or songs. Yeah. So that's why I said K-pop fans, especially second gen, don't come for me.
I actually didn't recognize her until I read the description. I'm like, oh,
how many
okay.
How many are in Girls' Generation? Isn't there like 9 of them? Or were 9 of them? There's quite a few.
Yeah, I don't know much about them. I just knew that I had seen her before, but I didn't put the pieces together because I don't really follow Girls' Generation or know their names or anything. So
I only know Taeyeon, and that's just because she still makes music. So, but yes, so that's our lead actress. Jung Ji-hoo is played by June, or Lee Jin-young, who I guess is also another idol. He was a member of the boy band U-Kiss, and I know U-Kiss is a little bit older, so we had 2 former idol leads in this movie, guys.
Again, did not know he was an idol either.
I didn't know that either, and I haven't heard of that group.
Yeah,
I've heard of that group. I couldn't tell you a song. I just know when I used to listen to Eric Nam's podcast, he had a friend named Kevin, who I guess was also a member in U-Kiss, that came on a lot. So that's the only reason I know about that group.
Oh, okay.
Right. I was going to bring up, do you think, I know they're both like kind of not performing anymore, but do you think this would be, I feel like this would be kind of a risky role for an idol to take.
Like a current idol?
Yeah.
That's true, actually. I didn't think about that.
Like, because it's a more taboo subject? Do you think it's riskier for their careers and their like images as an idol?
Yeah, especially the ways idols are like marketed as well.
Like they
it
are
definitely would have been.
sexualized, but not in that manner. Like,
Isn't that weird? Like they're sexualized, but then like they're not sexualized. Like if you embrace their sexualization,
like don't talk about it. Like they're innocent. They can't date. They're innocent, but we're gonna sexualize them anyway and show their bodies off and whatnot. But they can't have relationships or actual sex. We don't talk about that.
Look at you, Macy.
So.
You're breaking the code. Because that's a true point. That's very valid. So I don't know. And you would have to think like what type of idols. Obviously, it has to be the older idols because, you know, idols being debuted now are a lot younger. So you have to think the ones that are around our age and like the third and second generation groups. But like also I feel like a lot of those groups have older fans like us. So maybe it wouldn't have been that bad. I really don't know.
Right.
I couldn't tell you.
As an example, like Jin Young, he's an idol that is still kind of active, even though their group disbanded, and he's acting. If he had taken a role like this, do you think it would have affected his, like, GOT7 fan base at all?
Well, do you think it would? Because you're more of like an Agase than I am, so...
I wouldn't affect my perception of him, but I don't know about the rest of the fandom.
True. And that'd also be like what the difference between international fans and Korean fans too, you have to think.
But I also don't like the stereotype that they can't have relationships either. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I personally know it would not affect my thought, but I know that I feel like K-pop idols can get in controversy at the drop of a hat. So like, I think if I were him, I wouldn't take that risk.
I get that. It probably is better since they're both kind of like, they've been acting more. They're a little bit older that they don't really have to think. I mean, I feel like it was still a risk either way, but if they were still active in their groups, I see where you're talking about. Because idols, I know for a fact, idols and like actors are treated completely differently over there. So like actors, people don't really care about all the stuff you just said, but idols, they do. Why? I don't know. They just do.
Right. I mean, it's a risk. It's a risk for any actor too, though, because once you play a certain role, I feel like a lot of times, like the really popular actresses and actors you see, they get roped into a certain type of character, and you don't necessarily want to like limit yourself to like, oh, this is the character I play. I can only play that type of character. So I feel like taking on such a taboo subject in society can limit you. It can be a risk, no matter who you are. But,
yeah, I mean, just look at, I feel like you could say that of like actors here. Like, look at Tobey Maguire. I feel like people still see him Spider-Man. I mean, it doesn't help. He just played Spider-Man recently,
it's like his face now.
Like you pay,
like that's who he is.
play like such a major role. No one is going to see you besides that role.
You're always going to be compared to that one. So, like, I feel like it's a risk because now they're always going to be compared to this role because it's probably the most.
I actually really don't feel like it, especially, I don't feel like this movie is big enough for that. It has gotten attraction, but I don't think it's as popular to where they have to worry about that. And I feel like our minds kind of just like, I don't know. I don't feel like...
I think if this was a show, it probably would have had a more negative effect on them. But since it's just a movie, I don't think so.
I hope it doesn't, but I'm just, it is a question that I thought of. I'm like, is this going to affect future casting for them?
And honestly, I haven't really seen that many bad reviews on this movie. Like when I was doing my research, a lot of people actually really like it. And it's actually gotten pretty good like reviews. As far as ratings and everything, so
it's well done in my opinion.
It is. So I don't think they really have to worry about that. Personally, if it was viewed more negatively, then yeah, I could see that. But as far as just me observing the reviews, seeing like I haven't read any like too many articles about people's opinions, but so far I haven't really heard anything too bad about this. So if anything, it seems like more people are open to these type of subjects being talked about in like TV shows and movies. So yeah. But Jiu brings up the fact once the like boss said all that, like they maxed out the company's credit card as well as an issue that they're having with a YouTuber for the channel that I guess they want to try to have come on there as like a guest. And then her boss immediately becomes like defensive, goes in the attack of like accusing her of bringing the mood down. The YouTuber that she just mentioned has a lot of subscribers. She just doesn't personally like him. But I mean, she also brings up the good point that like it may not be smart to have someone who's homophobic on an educational show. And then Jiu steps up and tells him to think about the risk factor and the benefits of having the YouTuber for the channel. And the boss goes back on like a rant of how Jiu needs to be more like him. If she was more polite and talked with a smile, she wouldn't be killing the office.
I knew you were going to have something to say about that.
Being nice and cute can get you a long way, and having teamwork is what keeps a nice work environment, which is hard when there's so many women working in the office. So thoughts, guys?
No, let's hear
If
your
you tell me to
thoughts.
smile, I immediately hate you.
I immediately want to punch him when I saw him say work with a smile. Any women can understand my pain when anybody, especially men, tell you that you need to smile more because you're more approachable. Nafis knows this. I went on a whole rant when a man told me this at my old job.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not doing anything to you. Mind your damn business. You're lucky I'm trying to help you because I want to keep this job because I need to make money.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that phrase so much. I hate when people tell me I need to smile for them,
And
or if I smile, I'll be more like approachable and people would want to talk to me more.
But that's the goal, though. You don't want to be more approachable.
Exactly. Please don't talk to me. But I think it wouldn't be as annoying if it was equally distributed, because I do agree with like if I'm trying to like go up to someone to help them in like a retail environment, I do find that smiling helps, and like eye contact, there are certain social cues that you give to people to show that you're willing to help them, but don't tell me to do it because I immediately don't want to do it. And if you're going to tell people to do it, you need to tell it equally. Like the whole mindset of like women should just be quieter and smile and look pretty and you'll get more done is so stupid.
That's just that's my main annoyance with that whole thing. It's just because it's mostly is directed to women of like telling them, you know, basically everything Macy
just
just
act
said.
and look a certain way.
Yes.
Or you won't get anything, where men can just do whatever the heck they want. They can't, but it's portrayed that way.
And sometimes it's mostly applied for like, we have to do this if we want the male attention, as if that's just our goal in life. It's just to only please men. Yeah. So, which is not. And then his whole rant also about like complaining how he works with a bunch of women as if women are incapable of doing their job, or because there's so many women there. He's basically implying like women have so many emotions that like he just can't keep up, or like it makes it unpleasant to work there.
I mean, he could move to a different job.
He could.
You're the odd one out here. Maybe you should leave.
Plus, we also don't know his salary, not to also bring that up. So he could be making more than everybody, and that's why he's not leaving.
He probably
especially
is,
the women there.
He's like the manager, right?
Yeah. Online, I said he was like the team lead, but he's basically like the manager. I'm assuming he's like the head of mostly everyone there in the department. So.
Which automatically makes him think that he's better than everyone else because he's got a better title.
Because like you see it too if you watch the movie, his reaction when he is talking to Jiwoo, and then if Jiwoo says something, how his mood also automatically changes because he's like, oh, listen to the man, like he knows what he's saying. So
I think he also has a particular issue with her because she is a stronger woman who refuses to just do what she's told. So like she rivals what he is telling her to do. So it just makes him want to conform her more.
Because then, like, you saw how he changed when Jill was like, oh, you better watch what you're saying to them because telling them to act cute and stuff, that can be considered sexual harassment. And he's like, you know, I was testing you. You did a good job.
Yeah. Can't admit
I was just making sure. And I was like, yeah, sure you were, buddy. But anyway.
Sure. Hi, and welcome back to I Was Thinking. My name is Nafis.
And I'm Simone. And welcome back, guys. Yeah.
As you can tell from the tone of our voices, it's been a week.
Well, it's been a couple weeks, but it's just been.
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
I'm so tired.
How are you, Simone?
I'm not good. I'm not gonna lie.
Aw, talk to us.
It's bad out here, guys. I'm not even tired, like physically tired. I'm just mentally drained from a lot personally, and just, yeah, just a lot going on. People are rude. And I try to be like,
definitely.
Yeah, and I try to be like the benefit of the doubt, like, oh, no, people are rude, people are mean. If there's a study out there of like what type of kicks people get out of just being like the worst, please send it to me, because I really like to study up more on this, because I still don't understand. Like, common decency and common sense has been lost on us.
I agree. I'm noticing that more and more.
It's ridiculous. Like, and especially when I'm not even being rude back. I only be rude back when you're like giving that energy to me. And I don't like being rude back. Am I the only person who like feels bad when I'm rude to people?
I feel bad when I'm rude to people only if I'm the one to initiate it. But if someone's being rude and then I'm just matching it, then no, I don't feel that bad.
That must be nice. Maybe I need to get more like that. But I don't like feeling like that. It just makes me feel like sick. I don't know.
No, I understand. But typically, though, when I get in that type of mood, it's like after I've run out of patience from dealing with people's BS. So it's just like, what do you do at that point? The best you can do is like say a sarcastic comment instead of cursing them out, you know?
I don't know. I really need to get out of like a customer service based type job. What would that be? I don't know anymore. Does it even matter anymore? I feel like the world is burning.
Yeah. Climate change is real. Anywho, so today we're just going to be basically
I try not
on.
to be like this, but like I said, it's been
Yeah, so today's podcast is just basically going to be us rambling and talking about our woes, really.
Yeah.
I mean, how else can we describe it?
I just feel like I'm just going to do a lot of sighing this episode. Not my usual cheerful self, but when we get back to our other topics, hopefully I'll be better. I'm not good at hiding my expressions or feelings, so...
That's a good thing.
Is it, though?
But yeah, overall, from all avenues, it is a struggle.
It's basically a struggle. Life is a struggle.
Except for, like, the 1%. They'll be okay.
They're the ones that are killing us the most, but we won't get into that.
That's another topic for another day.
Sometimes, like, we do the podcast, I'm like, how deep do I want to get into my, like, discussions to where I'm like, Simone, should I say that? Should I not say that? Am I making sense if I try to say this? And, like, sometimes I don't want to get too deep because I'm not educated on everything. So it's not like I'm afraid to sound like an idiot, but, like, I don't like on talking about things I am not 100% educated on. So I'm not here to try to spread false information.
Right.
But it's nice to like get different perspectives on things. But sometimes it's like, well, we're all talking this out, but like, how are we going to change things? You know?
Exactly.
I feel like everything we went through in 2020 is kind of just like got brushed under the rug, you know? Still haven't really gotten past like COVID. Even though we're opening everything back up at this point.
We've been opened everything back up.
Well, Florida, yes, because Florida don't give a shit, but the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Speaking of Florida, I was looking at our stats. Do you know that episode of us talking about living here in Florida is like one of in the top 5s? I don't remember what I said, but I'm like, why are people listening to this specific one? That was like what, the second or third episode we recorded, like early on. I'm just surprised every time I'm like, really? Florida's not that great.
I mean, it's a great episode. We did a lot of trash talking.
I don't remember what I said. I don't even think I talked that much trash, did I?
Honestly, I don't remember.
I don't remember either, and I'm too afraid to go back and listen.
It's like, how honest were we? At
Not
the
that
beginning?
honest. I can tell you right now. I think I talked about the nature board. I'm true, or like, I'm true to what I said about the nature. The people, no.
I feel like the further away you get, you go from the city, the worse it is. Like in Orlando, you'll find some really nice hospital people because it's like all Disney magic here. But like when you move away from that, it's like a little bit rougher.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Disney's going through some things with that Don't Say Gay bill, so I think the magic is finally crumbling.
You and Disney?
What?
It's just so funny how riled up you get when we talk about Disney.
Because just the way, you know what? Let me not say this. This is one of the things where I'm like, should I say this publicly or keep it to myself? I might have to keep this to myself. I'll wait till I make money from this if I want to get into it or not. But right now, I'm a nobody. But like, is that better though? Nah, because I don't need people to be digging up this if I do become famous, even though I don't want to be famous. This is what happens when we don't have a topic, guys.
An existential crisis within an existential crisis.
That's my everyday life, basically. Having crisis within a crisis within a crisis. Mm-hmm. It's like those Russian dolls. That's how my, like, anxiety works, basically.
Oh. But yeah.
Yeah, Florida is a weird, like, it's a weird mix of, like, that southern mentality mixed with city mentality mixed with like island mentality, like, because you know we're off the coast of like a lot of the like Bahamas and islands and all that, so
yeah, I don't know, it's very interesting here.
We're just, you can't get away with, you can't not see one like source of American media where like they make fun of Florida. We really are the laughingstock of America.
I mean, they had a whole character on The Good Place. So
fucking Jason.
We made it to high school. We made it to Hollywood, guys.
And you know what? His character was accurate, so I'm not even mad at it. I am and I'm not.
You know, at first, when you told me that his character was representative of Florida, I was a little bit offended. But then, like, the more I watched him, I'm like, okay, this is...
Oh, did you watch The Good Place finally?
Fairly accurate. Oh, I watched all of it.
Oh, okay.
Like, a while
I didn't know
ago.
if you ever watched it or not. But yeah, isn't he a good representation of us?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we're all that stupid, but, like, fairly close. Fairly close.
Yeah. You know what? Sometimes it's not even just Floridians in general. It's a bunch of the snowbirds that we get here.
Yeah.
If no one knows what a snowbird is, that's what we call people who like live up north, mostly places that snow, and they come down here during like the winter months, so like they don't have to deal with the cold weather. So that's why they're called snowbirds. I have to say this for people because, you know, I have to remember not everyone that lives here, one, lives in Florida or lives in America. So... because, you know, we do have some international listeners. Shout out to you guys. Thanks for listening to us, keeping us alive, all that good stuff. But mostly also shout out to Florida because, like, our highest listeners are from Florida, surprisingly. So I don't know how y'all be finding us.
Exactly.
But thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
So... like I said, there's a couple, because, you know, sometimes, especially when it pertains to, like, children's movie, there's a lot of things that people have to say. So, the first one is basically just about, like, the puberty talk, because this is basically, like, a puberty movie about May, like, growing up and being, like, her own person. So, like, I know... seeing online, there was like a lot of weird discussions talking about like how they brought up pads, because like when she first turns into the panda, you obviously can tell this is about her getting her period for the first time. She's a 13-year-old girl, so it was just really weird to me, like how there's just all these like negative discussions about like the movie talking about May getting her period. I mean, like, this is something that happens in real life, and especially if you're a parent and parent of a woman who has uteruses. We all get our periods.
Mhm.
Like, basic biology
Yeah.
needs to be taught better in school, guys. Come on now.
Yeah, I don't really understand why it's such like a taboo topic. Like it affects 50% of the population, and the other 50%
Right.
should know about it because it's, you know, eventually at some point probably going to affect them too, or their partner or whatever. You know, like you're gonna whether you are in a relationship with someone who has one, or you are related to someone who has one, or you have a child that has one. Like it's gonna affect you at some point in your life. So
Exactly. It's not something that should be held
Yeah.
a secret, because especially like this, like, you know, we don't ask for this. If I could like not have a
Mhm.
period, I would not want it.
mhm.
But it's something as women we have to deal with and make sure we're dealing with it healthy wise too.
I think most people would choose not to.
It's part of why the population continues to grow. So like it's just, I don't know. I think people think that it's taboo, and people think that it's like quote unquote gross or whatever, and like they don't want to talk about it, and like you should just deal with it on your own. But like, what about the girls that don't have the proper
Education.
like parental background to teach them that, you know, like whether it's your parents or the school system teaching you about this thing that you're going to have to go through. Like, there's got to be some education on it. And if a Pixar movie can teach one little girl that it's okay to have this thing, then they've succeeded.
But they didn't really go into it per se,
They
like the
don't.
details of it.
Yeah.
No, but like that's fine, because like at the end of the day, this still is like a child's movie, but they still brought it up like it's a normal thing, which it is. So
I think it's more about like the emotional thing, and then like she is embarrassed by the fact that her mom like brings that stuff to school, which by all means,
the same
but
thing
like
she did, I would have ran away. But
yeah. So I don't know if they're like showing it. Are they showing it in a good light or not? But
I think that was just to highlight the overbearingness
of the
of her mother.
yeah.
Not necessarily a commentary on that.
Yeah, there's no problem with bringing it up either, because like I said, this is something normal, and like girls her age and some even younger start that early. So like you want to make sure they are properly educated of what is going to happen to them.
Yeah.
And make sure they're healthy.
Even just the mention of it in a major production is a step in the right direction, because even though it's not like a physiological like discussion or like how you would be educated, it's just like bringing it up like it's something normal that you can just talk about in passing rather than it being weird.
I also think like people have this weird like obsession over like being angry about it, just because I don't know why biologically, yes, but like we associate girls that get their period with like, oh, they're ready for sex now. And that's not the case. So it's also like this weird sexualization of the children that also makes me upset, because that's not
acceptable.
I don't know. Like, it's hard to explain, but that's one thing I was kind of taking away from like the discussion I was seeing. I'm like, anyway. I don't know, but this shouldn't be something, like we're saying, to be embarrassed about or sexualize either, which is weird in itself.
Mm-hmm.
So the controversy itself was bringing up that topic?
Yeah,
that was
just
the whole controversy?
showing that
the fact that it was just in a film.
It was just in it, like showing her she had pads.
That's stupid. Sorry.
No, it really is. So
this forum was full of like what type of people?
I mean, just about everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just said that just to say that, but it was like men, women, parents.
I was gonna say, if you were looking at like a like an Asian forum, then it would make sense why they would think it's taboo, because it's still taboo in that area. So for them to see that like on a big screen, it's like, oh my gosh, whoa, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. So it makes sense why they had that kind of like reaction.
I don't know about that. I know it's mostly like, I feel like white people for me, and like the conservative ones that I was seeing. So,
that's interesting. Considering all the other type of content you see
exactly
on TV. This
and
is really
and PG
not that
movies.
big.
Have y'all seen Shrek? I love Shrek. Shrek is one of my
Yeah.
favorite movies, but there's so many like sexual like jokes in that movie, and I'm like, this is a kids movie. It's not Pixar and it's not Disney, but still.
Right.
And there's so many others I could name.
Right. I think that that's been like forever. Like a lot of adult jokes are hidden in children's movies so that the parents that are forced to watch them can laugh at things.
I guess. But I also don't always see, like, yes, sometimes they're made for kids, but like, I feel like adults can enjoy them too. Bring their youth back. And I mean like PG ones, not like
Yeah.
Yeah, no, by all means. I'm just saying, I think that was the original intent, is all.
Yeah. I don't mean shows like, what's that one that's really popular with the children? Is it like Coco Melon or something like that? Like, don't make me watch that. But I can do stuff like this and like even some G-rated movies. So
It's so funny regarding Coco Melon. Slight tangent. It's like half my kids love it and half my kids hate it. And I'm just like, Coco Melon is not very representative of like a good show. But anyway, that's a different commentary for a different episode.
I know nothing about it. I am not around children, so that's just one that I know is popular among kids under 10,
Oh,
right?
it's very popular. Yeah.
So that's the only example I could bring up.
I mean, it makes it onto Netflix's top 10, so you can imagine how popular it is.
Yeah, no one's like our age anymore. No one remembers the Blues Clues or the Dora Explorers or things like that, so...
Yeah.
Okay, but anything else we want to talk about that first one? Just the...
No.
Personally, I just think it's
Just
the
that it's
weirdness
stupid.
of the... Yeah, just that it's
Yeah.
stupid. Okay, the next one that really stood out to me that I just want to bring out was like, I guess May's and her friend's obsession with Four Town, and like, I guess also just really getting into K-pop. Like, I can sympathize a little bit better, because especially when I was younger, like I've said this before, I wasn't really into like boy bands growing up.
Mhm.
It was definitely like a later reaction, but like still, there's still just like a stigmatism of like fangirls and fangirling in general when it comes to just like
Mhm.
things women really enjoy, but no one ever says the same thing about men in sports
Right.
or just sports fans in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
When do you ever see a fangirl go destroy a town because their team lost a game?
Right.
But we won't get into that.
Yeah, I
But
think sports
anyway.
fans are way more hardcore.
But like, they're young. It's supposed to show them like they're still children. They're just excited about something. Why are you diminishing
Mhm.
their excitement
But
of
like,
something?
this is not the first time where they show that type of obsession though with like a group.
In the movie, or are you just talking about in media?
I'm just talking about in general. Like in other movies, you see like people around that age like be obsessed with some sort of group.
I guess because people are upset, like they're still stigmatizing, like, I don't know, maybe just like the fangirl whole mantra, which they're not all like that. And maybe because I am older, I'm not that crazy. Even if I was younger, that's just me personally, I'm not like that. But there are like people that I know or like see when I do go to concerts who just get that excited, but it's just totally harmless. So that's what I mean. The
Yeah.
harmless ones, like they're just excited about seeing or hearing stuff that they love.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, it's just music. Like, it's not hurting anybody.
exactly.
And some of the comments her mom was saying in the movie, the gyrating.
I found that comment hilarious.
It was pretty funny.
The emphasis on gyrating.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Uh,
I don't know. I just saw it more like I could, like now as I'm into, I guess, my fangirl era, I could see it better and just let them have fun. And even then, I'd just
Yeah.
be like, if that's not your thing, that's just not your thing. But like, they just want to, and plus it's a bonding experience with her and her friends.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I thought it was cute. They're not doing, like I said, it's harmless. They're not doing anything. I would be more concerned if they're like some people where they're like saying certain stuff online or like being almost stalkerish in a way. That's when you're kind of have to be like, okay, dial it back a little, or like, we need to talk about this. But the way they were portrayed, I think it was fine.
The people who are saying that these girls are like way obsessed with these boys haven't seen BTS stan Twitter. Like,
Oh my gosh.
because they're just, to me, that they're really just into the music and they just want to go to the concert. Like, those are their main goals.
Yeah.
They're not like talking about, you know, their personal lives, like or like, you know, harassing people about this group or whatever. They're like literally just, we love these people, we love their music, we want to go to their concert. To me, that's not like nearly to the point where you see some people like online in real life, because they're not like, it's not, if the whole movie was about their obsession with Four Town, it would be different. But like they're just having fun, they're doing other things, like you know, like I don't know. It doesn't seem that big of a deal to me.
Like May is still very into her grades and stuff. Like she's not letting her obsession with Four Town distract her from her real goals and her personal life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She still wants to be like a straight A student.
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw it more as like a healthy balance.
Mm-hmm.
Personally.
Yeah. Me too.
Okay, but yeah. And then our last quote unquote controversy. Like I only wrote these down. They're all dumb to me, to be honest. But I just thought like, hey, some more talking points for the movie. And this is the one where I feel like it's the dumbest of them all. No offense. I feel like since I'm into K-pop, I could say this. Like, it's just a bunch of online stuff. So, this is going to be the long one, too. So, this is about who Four Town is based off of. Now, at first...
okay.
Do you know a little bit about this, Nafis?
I have a feeling of where it's going, but...
So I remember before this movie even came out, we were getting pictures of like Four Town. You know, Taeyong obviously is supposed to be Korean. Mm-hmm. And then when you saw like his little background story, a bunch of armies were like, oh my God, the creator must have, you know, based him off of Jimin. He looks just like Jimin. So then an article, I can't find the actual article, but I remember seeing this and reading it. So there was an article came out where the creator, I guess she said she based it off of Big Bang and 2PM. Now I'll talk about my thing at first because first, I don't know a lot about 2PM, so I won't talk about them. But I don't know a lot about Big Bang either, but every time I would listen to Big Bang songs or see them, I don't really see it because I feel like Four Town's kind of like that cutesy, like, kind of pretty boy band where they're like, they'll take you home to your parents and your parents will accept them, where every time I think of Big Bang, I'm like, all the girls want them, but you wouldn't really want to take them home to your parents. So in that sense, I didn't see it as far as like the way Big Bang was like promoted as a group. They were promoted more as like the hard, the edgy, the bad boys type.
I know more about 2PM, and I would say, if anything, Four Town leans way more towards 2PM than it does Big Bang.
Okay, so I could see that. But, like, even then, I wasn't... Like, when I first saw the pictures, I wasn't even thinking K-pop. Because, like, you know, K-pop is based off of American boy bands from here. Like, K-pop's very young. It only started in the 90s. And I think... Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I think really where you can trace back, like, K-pop, like, the groups we know now, like, what it was derived from, like, maybe 1992. Maybe like actual 90s, but I think 92. But like when I saw them, I was thinking of like, you know, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Boys to Men, B2K.
I was gonna say the same thing. They gave me more of like a Backstreet Boys.
When I initially saw it, because I didn't know anything about this movie until you said it. I had no idea what they looked like. I had no concept of what anything was happening. When they first appeared on screen, I thought One Direction.
Yeah, like, you could say One Direction. I was thinking like even like like I said, I wasn't into boy groups, but like in middle school, I was kind of like into this group called Mindless Behavior. I thought of them. So, and even you can throw it back to like the Jackson 5. So I was thinking more of those along those lines. And now articles now kind of say it was based off of 90s boy bands in America and K-pop. And then they do mention like BTS also. So I don't really know which one was correct. I just remember that being a thing because you know how. Yeah,
they just, for me at least, they gave off like wanna be your boyfriend vibes.
Yes.
Where I don't get that from K-pop. At least not the groups I listen to. Like the kind of more basic cheesy lyrics of just like, I'll be this person to you, you know, kind of thing. Like, I don't know.
I get that from some K-pop groups that I listen to.
I mean, every once in a while a song will be like that, but for the most part, I don't get that vibe.
I think they were more like that in second gen than they are now, but...
Yes. If anything, second gen K-pop more so than anything.
Yes, and I think the director is pretty young. I think she's in her early 30s, so, like, I understand that, too. But, like, I was thinking, like, when I first even read that, I'm like, I'm not even thinking K-pop. I'm honestly not even thinking BTS. I'm thinking, like, American... boy groups of the ones I just mentioned. And I guess we'll throw One Direction in there, even though they're not American, but still. They're, you know.
Yeah, they give off the boyfriend vibes, though, for sure.
Or like even Jonas Brothers. I thought of the Jonas Brothers a little bit.
It works.
No, for me, it was definitely like 90s boy bands.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially the way the tune is, too, of like the songs.
Yes.
It's definitely very 90s. Yeah.
The song and the vibe of everything, I definitely would stray away from modern day K-pop. However, I do admit that the Asian character does look a little bit like Jimin. Like, if you're gonna make, I
will say it too. I don't care.
Like, I'm sorry. It's just like just the smoldering look and the blonde hair and just I can see how armies would be like, oh my gosh, he's like modeled after him. I don't necessarily agree with the fact that he's modeled off of him, but there are comparisons that you can make there.
Yeah,
for sure. So I'm not going to deny that.
I won't either. Because when I first saw that too, I'm like, oh my god, that would look like what Jimin would look like when he's animated. So
yeah.
Although he hasn't been blonde in a while though, but I like the black hair on him.
I feel like the blonde is like kind of like an iconic moment. Look, like when you think of Jimin and you might not necessarily be into it, like that would be the image that you would think of. So
yes, but I just wanted to bring that up, so it was just really the clash of that. So I mostly thought of the boy groups that I named earlier. So
yeah, the overall vibe of the group, definitely. Yeah,
it's just they're all just based off of different. Basically, I feel like boy bands throughout the decades than what we grew up with.
Right. I think people who don't actually listen to K-pop, BTS specifically, would think that this is what they're like if they had never heard any of their stuff, if that makes sense. Like the stereotypical boy band aesthetic. I think that's what they're portraying.
But like, I wouldn't even go through, my mind doesn't go through K-pop first. Mine goes to the 90s of like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. And even if when I wasn't, I'm not old enough to have been around to stand them, and I wasn't exposed to their music, except for like, the one or two popular ones.
Right. I agree with you. But I'm just saying from if these critics that are just looking at it from a faraway glance that aren't into this stuff, I feel like K-pop is exploding right now. So maybe they're thinking that it's like capitalizing off of the fact that K-pop's exploding right now, even though that's not really what modern day K-pop is like, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I get it.
Okay, so my next point is like the decision to embrace the panda versus suppression. So she's really the only person in her family that decided to embrace it fully. If you were in her situation, would you embrace it or would you suppress it? And like, why do you think she came to the decision she did?
I think, honestly, I probably would suppress it just because of, like, my personality. It's easier for me to suppress something than to be that expressive. But with her, she had more to gain from keeping the panda than from suppressing it. So I could see why she did that.
Yeah, she learned to live with it more than I think probably all the women in her generation really learned, honestly. Besides, like, the creator.
Right. I think I would tend to agree with you, Nafis, on the whole suppression thing, only because in a realistic standpoint, I don't really love to, like, show my emotions, like, on that kind of level. I think I tend to keep things to myself, even though I'm becoming way more expressive with, like, my outward appearance or what I can say to people. I still, like, my emotions, I still kind of keep to myself. So, unless I just can't, I kind of hate the fact that I've cried twice now at work. One, when Lucy died. and 2 when my uncle died. So and that's not something that I've never done before. I've never cried in front of a coworker. Yeah. So, and I think it's proving just that how comfortable I do feel with my coworkers, which is a great thing. And 2, that I'm becoming more comfortable with letting my emotions out, but I'm still not quite all there that I think that I would let my emotions become into a physical beast that would just pop out. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You don't want to turn into a big, fluffy, 8-foot giant red panda?
I mean, I would be cool with that, but I don't think that's super realistic in our society. Not that it's supposed to be realistic, but...
I know. But if it was...
Yeah, if it was, I don't know how much that would be accepted. And that, people suck. They would probably, if it was accepted, be like, oh, taboo, she let her panda out. Like, she's too emotional. Like, our society would turn it into that.
I guess you could kind of compare it to people who are just the no filter type of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can kind of compare it to that. Yeah.
But on one extent, though, because even now, like, as I get older, like, I realize a lot of those no filter people were just, like, rude. And try to use it as a cover up as being no filter when that's not really the case. There's a difference between no filter of, like, accepting yourself, like, expressing yourself of, like, who you actually are. And then there's just, like, the no filter of, like, just being a spiteful person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if it's the no filter of, like, May's side, then I want to be like that. If it's not, then no.
Yeah, I think it's just, it's down to, like, the being afraid to be vulnerable kind of thing and laying everything out on the table. Like, I'm still kind of the type of person that wants to keep some of my cards hidden. So it would be very hard for me to just completely release it all like that.
Yeah.
I didn't answer, so I would probably agree. I was trying to think. I think I would agree with you guys as far as suppressing it, but, like, I kind of want to start embracing my panda more with the people I trust, because I am kind of the same thing. Like, I don't really show my emotions, and, like, even just, like, speaking my opinion, I still struggle with that. And I noticed that too, like, even with this podcast, like, there's some things I want to say and I don't, and, like, it's just because I wasn't really taught to do that. I don't know how to do it properly. So like, as far as people I don't know, like, yes, I want to be, like, more myself, but, like, still kind of calm it down just because that's the way I am. I still am kind of shy, like, anxious around people I don't know. I'd probably suppress it, but as far as, like, just, like, with my friends and family, I do want to try to embrace my panda more, if that makes sense. Like,
so I'm still learning. Like, I don't want to make this too deep, but, like, one of the reasons I've just realized, like, recently when I was doing, like, a professional development for, like, school, like, one of the reasons why I'm just so hesitant of speaking my mind, of saying, like, what I want, what I don't want, is because of the social, like, backlash that I'd get. Because growing up, like, I grew up around the time when 9/11 was, like, still fresh. So there was, like, that Islamophobia that still existed. So we were always taught at home to always, keep your comments to yourself. Make sure you're politically correct when you're saying something. You're not saying something so outlandish that people are just going to look at you like, this girl's concerning. So, like, I kind of, like, internalized that. And, like, just recently I realized that is one of the reasons why I'm not as outspoken as I could be. So that's just that just came to mind when you were talking, Simone.
Yeah, no, I get that. So that makes sense. Mine's more of kind of just, like, in the parent sense, like, especially with my mom, it's kind of like, if I wanted to say something, it was like, oh, you're just a child. You don't know anything. You'll know when you grow up. But, like, never really having discussions with me, like, well, why
I mean, there's some of
shouldn't
that too,
I know that now? Yeah. Mine's more of that. And then, like I said earlier, growing up in, like, a predominantly, like, white area, she didn't want me to be perceived as, like, I guess the other Black kids of, like, being, like, loud and rambunctious and, like, especially, like, as a woman, I guess, try to fit more into, like, what white people will want to see me as, to try to accept me. And that's another thing, like, I've been seeing discussions about with the whole, I really didn't want to bring this up, but the whole Oscar thing that happened last time, I could see those point of views and stuff, which no one has still apologized to Jada. But again, we're not going to get into that. But I'm just saying things along that line is why I have problems expressing myself, and how people are so quick to shut it down, where it's like, you don't know what you're talking about, or like if someone says something offensive, like it's just a joke, things along that nature. So
it really isn't about just like learning how to express yourself. It's the fear of like the backlash you will get. Like, it's not even a question. Like, you are going to get some like backlash from saying things on your mind. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation. Like, you want to express yourself to a certain extent, but you also don't want to, like, you know, mess with like your people's perception of you, or like your, you know, your opportunities, because people are crazy, and like if you say the wrong thing, you could ruin an opportunity for yourself. So it's just we have to tiptoe around each other because of these stereotypes that we put into our own society. So like
so that's why I said, like, society-wise, I suppress it, but, like, I want to embrace it more with friends and family. Yeah. So,
I think
people
that's
I
a good
trust.
middle ground, you know, because, unfortunately, it's, like, the whole, like, you have to keep yourself safe. So, like, say what you feel like you can in a public environment to keep yourself safe while still expressing a part of your opinion, and then let it out more so with people that you know that you're safe with no matter what. So...
I just want to say, though, if it's like a toxic or like an abusive situation, then definitely speak out.
Yeah.
Like whether it's at work, at home, whatever, because you don't want to go through that agony like every single day.
Yeah.
No
one deserves the right to be belittled. So.
Definitely.
And that forever busy, hardworking man, Jackson Wang, apparently is going to have a song on the new Minions movie that I didn't even know they were making or releasing. He posted it on his Instagram, and I was like, what is this? And I realized, like, this is a Minions movie. It's called Minions: The Rise of Gru, and it's dropping July 1st.
Okay, this might sound stupid of me, but I think I've only ever seen the first, like, Minions movie. How many are there?
Is there not only one Minions movie?
I swear there's a second one.
Is there?
I swear. Yeah.
I know there are 3 Despicable Me movies.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
And there's a Minion movie.
Okay, I've seen the first Despicable Me, but I haven't seen anything else.
Yeah, there's Despicable Me, there's Despicable Me 2, and there's Despicable Me 3. The second one is like when he meets a girl and becomes like, I think she's a spy. And she like becomes part of the family. And then the third one, I think, is when he like basically tries to become a good guy. I've seen all 3.
I swear I've only seen the first one.
Okay. And that's really the only one you need to see, to be honest. I don't remember if I saw the Minions movie. I think I did.
I feel like I've seen clips from it. Like, isn't it like from like how they evolved? Like it starts off in like prehistoric ages, and it's
basically how they meet Gru, but it like shows like their creation basically
I think
throughout
I saw
history.
The trailer for it, so I know the premise of the movie, but I didn't actually watch it
because it focused on like 3 main ones. I know one of them is Kevin.
Kevin.
The tall one's name is Kevin. And I forgot the other ones, and then there's one with just one eye.
Isn't his name like, I want to say like Bob or something?
Girl, I don't remember. And I really don't feel like looking it up right now. The Minions movie. Look out for Jackson's song. That's going to be part of that official soundtrack.
That would be the only reason I would watch that movie.
I mean, you could also just listen to the album. Just find his song. That man just never takes a break.
Working all the time.
Right. But yes, and then 14, which is the only song that's actually going to be available on digital, because that's their other new song, is called For Youth.
Cool.
And of course, I can tell that's a new Army song because that the For Youth is like in the name of Army, like the acronym. Right. So, adorable representation. Why can I never remember this acronym?
Adorable representatives, right?
What did I say?
You said
representation?
Yeah.
That's the same thing.
Representatives.
Same thing.
No, it is not. Those are different words.
Adorable. What? I am a bad fan. Just throw my Army card away. No, seriously though, what is it?
I don't know the whole thing, but you said representation, but it's representatives. Those are two different words.
It's adorable representative for youth or of youth.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Where's the M? AR. Where's the?
Has something to do with music?
I'm gonna look this up. It is adorable representative MC for youth.
There we go.
Forgot the MC. This is like, what is the M? That's a lot of that's like, but isn't, you know what? Never mind. Yeah. That's it, guys. That's proof. Let me stop talking because I'm rambling and stumbling a lot. But I'm excited, and I already begged everyone if we can talk about it when it comes out, because me and Nafis did it for B, so of course we're gonna have to do it for this one, and Brianna already said yes. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure we'll do an album review. I don't know if we'll do only just like the new songs or all the songs, especially
it depends on whether they're remastered or not.
That's true. But we'll see. So stay tuned for that. And she has already pre-ordered this album, so I'm sure she could talk about CD3. I need to wait. I already told her this too. I was like, listen, everyone and their mothers are going on tour right now, so like I just have a feeling when this drops, some type of tour is going to be announced. So I need to save accordingly and properly. So I'll get the album later, or I can buy it at the venue. But I need to save up. I need to be ready. I'm prepared.
Yeah.
And also, at the time of this recording, my birthday is on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I will be the big 25.
You get to join the old person club. Welcome.
What? What'd you say?
You get to join the old person club. Welcome.
Oh my God. I already feel it in my body.
Right.
I don't think I'm doing anything. I'm sure my dad will like drag me out to at least lunch. So I'm not stuck in the house. But like, you know, I don't know if this is just a man thing, but my dad hasn't, and it's not his fault, because usually I don't really ask for anything, or like I'm that type of person where like if I have the money and if I want something, I usually buy it for myself. So it's kind of hard to get a gift for me. But like this year I was like, you know what? I want him to actually get me a gift. So I told him like, hey dad, my shoes are very old and the ones I wear to work are basically going to start having holes in them. Why don't you just get me some new shoes? And he's like, so you don't want the money for the new shoes? I'm like, you always give me the money and I pick out my gifts. I actually want a gift from you this time. And I'm like, he's like, do you trust me with the gift? I'm like, do you trust yourself to give me a gift? He's like, well, I'm not sure if I'll know what you like. What if I don't get your style? I'm like, that is the great thing about receipts, father. I can take it back. But it's the thought that counts, that you put in the time and effort to get me a gift. Right. And so that's what he did last night. And then he called me and he's like, are you sure you trust me with this? And that's when I reiterated, I'm like, Dad, do you not trust yourself to pick out a decent gift for me? I'm literally asking for shoes. Black is the safest option to go. I already told you my size. And again, if they don't fit, I could return them or exchange them.
Exactly.
So I'm going through that. But other than that,
well, that's good. And then while he was in that new group, though, is when he came up with his Shonu stage name, which it's a play on his real name, and it means show you new things.
That's pretty clever.
Yeah, right. And then as far as he is the main dancer. He participates in a lot of their choreo creation. And he was on Hit the Stage in 2016. I don't remember what year Yugyeom was on it, but that's the same show.
Wasn't it also 2016?
I think they may have competed against each other.
Oh, okay.
Which I believe Yugyeom won.
Yeah.
But he was on the show. And then, like I said earlier, he enlisted in the military July 22 of 2022. July 22nd of 2022.
Wait. No, 2021, Macy. We're in May. You said 2022? We are in May of 2022.
Let me...
That's why I was so confused. This was like, wait a minute. July hasn't even...
1 month is in.
That's why I was so confident he went either like last year or 2020. I'm like, there is no way. I knew it.
Yep, 2021. Dang it. What's wrong with me?
It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. Remember, time is an illusion, so it's all good. That's why
the
I
July
was
22nd messed me up. I wrote 20 twice. 20.
Okay, because I was like, we're in May.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wouldn't have gone yet if that was the case.
That's why I thought, hasn't this man been in the military?
Yeah,
I thought it was 2020, but I knew it was either.
A year.
Yes.
But he's on all the other albums except for this new one.
Right.
So whether he was participating, probably not, but he's on them, like his voice.
Because I remember I was like, I could have sworn the past ones, his vocals are on there, but I thought he wasn't promoting with them. That's why I got confused.
Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, don't mind my misinformation.
It's okay. We corrected it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it would have been really confusing if I posted this in May and you said July of 2022. I'm like, shouldn't he still be in the group with promotions? It's all good. A funny mishap.
Oh. Okay. You ready for the next one?
I am ready. Are you ready?
Yep. So as you said, I'm
ready. Gotta bring some SpongeBob in there.
Your favorite one.
Yeah.
The next album is Fatal Love with the title track Love Killer. Which broke the internet.
Look at my eyes, straight into my eyes, and say, "Won't you eat me like a main dish?" I don't know if he wants me to eat him as a main dish or he wants to eat me as a main dish, but I will sign up for either one. You know what? It's fine. Let's go.
Right. Killed me in that music video.
I remember Sam was freaking out when that song came out, especially that part. It's like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. Okay. So, yes, we will be talking about Proof, which is the anthology album that just came out by BTS celebrating their 9th anniversary. Before we get into the album, I figured I should just talk a little bit about Festa since June is the month that they debut and they always celebrate like the first, I would say 2 weeks really of June for their debut. And then just happened to be around the time they dropped the album, which I'm sure was intentional, especially learning the stuff we know now. It's like at first, before when I was oblivious, I'm like, feel like I was going to say so much different stuff. And now the stuff I know now, I'm like, I just see everything so differently. You know, like when you speculate something, but you either choose to ignore it or like it just doesn't catch up. And then like when something's revealed, like when you're watching a really good TV show, and then like everything's revealed and you just start looking back and like all the clues were there. And I either just ignored it or I wasn't paying close attention.
Hindsight.
Right. And you start seeing it, it's like it was right there in your face.
Yeah.
This whole time. So that's kind of how I've been feeling for the past week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's how I felt too.
I mean, I think all of us have been like mentally bracing for this for a long time because the longevity of K-pop groups is kind of speculated. So
yeah, we knew it was coming and I knew it was coming. I was always prepared, but I think it just happened quicker than I thought, or I was expecting it later in the year. So, but anyway, let's talk a little bit about Festa. Then this one was a little different, and this should have been my first clue, because even when they posted like the little schedule of like what they're going to do each day, I kind of said to myself, I was like, oh, I mean, I also thought it was because like the album was coming out and like, you know me, I was even you'll hear an old podcast episodes, I just kept saying like, oh, they're going to go on tour. They're going to go on tour. So I thought it was like, maybe they're not holding a concert for Fest so that they always did because they're preparing for tour. Oh, how wrong I was. How wrong I was. It's okay. But yes. That's it. So we're going to go ahead and move on with the second song called Run BTS. Is Run BTS on the second CD? It's on the second CD, right? That starts.
I don't know.
I think so. I think Yet to Come is on the first CD and Run BTS is on the second one. It's the first song that starts off like the CD where the members chose songs that felt like they represent them. So this song was produced by Dem Joints for You Made Us What We Are LLC and Ghost Loop. And then the writers are Dwayne Abernathy Jr., who is actual Dem Joints' real name, RM, Ebenezer, J-Hope, Ghost Lip, Jungkook, Suga, One Eye, Daniel Caesar, Ludwig Lindell, Melanie Joy Fontana, Michael Lindgren, Schultz, and Feli Ferraro. Dear Lord.
It's a lot of names.
It was a struggle trying to be like, don't stumble and mispronounce these. Okay, another controversial thing that I wanted to bring up with this song. So I don't remember if this happened before we did our K-pop highlights or not, but when the track list was released, Macy, before I get into it, do you recognize the name Dem Joints? Because you listen to other K-pop groups.
Vaguely.
Okay.
But no, I don't know anything about him or what he also has worked on. I've just heard the name.
Yeah, so he's actually a really involved producer. Like he's worked with a lot of artists. If you do just like a quick Google search that I did last night, because I know him through K-pop, I didn't know about his other work. 3-time nominated. I don't know if he won any Grammys. And it's just some names like Western artists that I'll point out that he's worked with: Eminem, Dr. Dre, Kanye, Rihanna, Janet Jackson. Those are big names that he has helped make songs for. For K-pop, he works a lot with SM, specifically NCT and NCT 127. So if you hear a song, I know it's also in SHINee's newer song, Don't Call Me, and that new girl group, NMIXX, and a lot of NCTs. If you hear a song start off with the introducing, that's him. So you've heard his work. Yeah, especially us, because we're, we listen to other groups. What they call us on the internet, multis. I'm doing air quotes for people who can't see me. So when people who know him, and I tweeted this on our podcast Twitter account, because I was like, out of all the things I have seen being involved in K-pop, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, because people were getting mad that he was involved in this song before we even heard the song, because they know he's associated with NCT and these weird fandom wars that I still don't understand. I'm really getting tired of and over with. And I know people were getting mad at him because he quoted someone who was I forgot what the tweet said, but he basically clapped back. And I know some people were like, why are you clapping back on an account that was just made today? I'm like, you really think someone who's being attacked for no goddamn reason is going to take the time, look in their account, be like, oh, this must be a troll, they just made it today? No, I'm gonna answer you back. It was so stupid.
I'm sorry, but first of all, regardless of who he's worked with before, he is I'm assuming a producer.
Yes.
Or a writer.
Both.
So like he has no claim to one specific group. He's worked with all these other artists, including NCT, so now it's a problem that he's working with another K-pop group.
Well, specifically BTS. I know, like, I was seeing some tweets where they're like, they better not hear, like, you know how I just did his producer tag a while ago, like, hear that on the song. And now that the song's released, now this is one of the most, like, talked about songs I've seen. Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
I mean, obviously he's good. If you like him doing other songs, why wouldn't you want to spread that talent elsewhere?
Because I just thought it was so dumb.
I'm never gonna understand that. So
I'm not either. I just thought it was dumb. He's a grown-ass man, but like I felt
he's
bad, and I was
like, he's gotta make his bank. If he has an opportunity to work with BTS, why would he not do that? This is his job.
This is his job, and he did a pretty good damn job at it. So
yeah, he has no obligation to stick with one person or group
unless he's under a contract, and obviously he's not. So
that's dumb.
And it's just fun. It's just funny to me how how the conversation turned once the song was released.
Mm-hmm. And
it's like, yeah,
slaps,
I'm not.
So like, get over it.
Not gonna forget y'all talking about this man, calling him out his name before you even heard a note of it.
Yeah, no.
So that just really pissed me off, and I just had to say it because people were out of pocket for that. I don't care who you stand. That was so uncalled for.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, I'm sure you agree, it's our favorite song out of the three.
By far. It's constantly on repeat in my car right now.
Listen, when that first chorus like hit and J-Hope was growling, that run, bulletproof run, I was like, ah.
The way Jimin and Jungkook sing the word gasoline, perfect.
They're all just like, oh my God, it's just, I have no words. Like, I can't express how much I
know Jin does it too, but like just the specific.
Yeah. Okay, so let me get into the serious part. So, like I just said about the map the soul. So this is where like the 22 mark, Namjoon starts like getting more serious, and he talks about like the difficulties of him like being creative and like starting questioning the route BTS are going as a group after Butter and Permission to Dance. Oh, I also didn't mention this, and I didn't know if I should say this, like, because it's shade. But notice how they didn't put Permission to Dance on the anthology album.
Yeah.
Just saying. But anyway.
Yeah, they didn't really talk about that song in general. They kept just saying, Dynamite, Butter.
They might. No.
We don't need to talk about it.
I'm gonna move on. And like I said earlier, he expresses more that he started like questioning this during On, and it got worse after Butter, because like he basically just said like he's running out of stories to tell. Like he just doesn't know what to say anymore. And then I've seen this quote floating around, so like he does kind of take a jab at the K-pop and idol system, which I don't blame him for. I know, because he's Namjoon from BTS. Even if you're a K-pop fan, like people might take this the wrong way, but like what he said isn't wrong. So he says like the problem with the K-pop and idol system, they don't give you time to mature. You have to keep producing music and keep doing other stuff. There's no time left for growth, and it's not just about music and work. And like I feel like I've said that before with other groups I like I've said that about ATEEZ. I would consider them my second or third favorite group, and every time they come back I was like, damn, didn't y'all just have a comeback a month ago? Like break.
It's just, it seems like their main focus in the industry is just production. Like how much can we produce, how quickly can we produce it. So how
much can we produce while y'all are still young and able to like dance without your bodies breaking down at this point with the hard choreographies? As much as I like go up for the choreographies and like the music, because it is more like, and I think that's why I gravitated more towards K-pop, because I don't know if I ever expressed this, but like it's kind of like what the American system kind of stopped doing, especially since they stopped producing groups as artists. Like it's not as fun anymore. Like it's still good music. A lot of artists produce like good, meaningful music messages, but just like, sometimes you just want to have a nice, fun song you can dance to. So that's just really my thing. But I understand, like, you're right. Like, and that's why we would always bring up the point when people would call Jin old. I'm like, he's not old. He's just old in the idol system because they put him on a shelf life. Mm-hmm. I mean, just in general, people, especially on the internet, they'd be like, when you're 30, you're dead. So we're almost in the grave, Macy.
Yay.
5 more years.
Finally. No, joking. To quote one of my favorite Jenna Marbles lines, life is short, but it's also incredibly and painfully and disgustingly long.
Oh my god. We're okay, guys, we promise. Anyway, moving on. Yes. And then they just kept continuing expressing their, like, just how busy they were, especially after Dynamite. And I always said that, like, after Dynamite, they blew up in a way no one expected them to. I'm sure even themselves. So it's only been 2 years. That's still really a short amount of time. So just to be able to handle all that all at once, like, they were already big, but it just got like 10 times. And then just like expressing how he just didn't even feel time to like think or like think about his own schedule and just had to be so focused on everyone in the group and just like trying to figure out with this newfound fame, basically how to push the group anymore. Because if he doesn't know what to talk about, then what does that mean? And then like, and I was also thinking this too. That's why I thought it was weird before I knew what was happening. Like they weren't holding like a festa. He brought up like all the all the festivals that are happening since COVID restrictions are like being lifted. And he gave the same example I was thinking of Psy. Like I've seen a lot of videos of Psy doing like concerts for like, there's like thousands of people in the audience for that. And he was like, it'd be probably great if we started doing stuff like that. But like, they're just tired.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The thing that just made me sad is just like, even they said this, but like, I just felt bad that they not just scared, but they just felt like they were letting people down. And I'm really happy Taeyeon kind of like told them like most of the fans would understand, but still, because even with fans, you know, there are going to be those few that are just like, not their expectations being down, but they are going to take it like the wrong way. So
yeah, I think that's what made me more sad than the fact that they are taking a little bit of a break, is that they were so afraid to tell people that they were going to take a break. Like, they just kept saying, I hope you understand, I hope you understand. And they're like, we're not complaining about having this great opportunity, but we're just expressing the hardships that we've been going through. And, like, they feel comfortable enough to share that with us. And now they're getting some backlash on being able to share that with us. That's what makes me the most sad. Like, of course I'm sad or whatever about like not being able to go to concerts and whatnot, but like, and not having the group as a whole. But from what they have been saying and how I've taken it as, this is not like, they're still going to be content. Like, they just want to do solo stuff and develop as individual artists in order to come back as a better group with fresh ideas and like a healthier aspect towards it. So like, I think like I've seen a lot of people like really upset. It's like, oh, BTS is done, they're over, it's whatever. I didn't necessarily take it like that, and I don't think that's what they were trying to express. And I think by all means they've been doing this for like 10 years. I would be tired.
Yeah.
Like, you can only produce so much, so like, this is very minimal what they're asking for. Like, I do not think that it should be taken like this, that they just need to breathe for a minute.
Right. It goes to one of the things how me and you were talking about boundaries earlier. That's one of the things where it's kind of like you need to know your boundaries because you don't know them outside of the artistry. And like I said, like I do feel like the relationship they have with their fans is different, but at the same time, like people need to learn to respect that because still at the end of the day, they're human. And like what Namjoon was talking about, like another thing I like them because I feel like you can tell they all really do care about each other. Like, yes, they were a group of like they didn't know each other at first and kind of just brought together over one thing. But like you can see they really did develop a relationship with each other like throughout the whole thing. So if they still want to be like bands like now, like want to be like a Coldplay or like, I don't know, I'm not into that many bands, guys. I'm sorry. But if you just want the longevity, you do need to be able to explore your own individuality as an artist and projects you want to do before coming back as a band. So.
Right. And I think that, you know, if any group is going to break out of this, like, stereotypical K-pop industry, it's going to be them. Like, I think that they can have the longevity, but they need to break out of it first. So I think this is a good opportunity to do so, is, like, develop as individual artists and then come back as a new group that is not sanctioned by the rules of the industry that they've been in.
Even in the K-pop industry, like, y'all are seeing, we've pointed it out. Oh, well, I pointed out one time, there's like a new resurrection of like second gen groups coming back together as the group. Yeah. So even in the K-pop industry, you're seeing people that like didn't technically disband, but they went their separate ways and now they're coming back. Like, and even with the guy groups for like the men that are going off into military, it just really depends on the group and the company if they want to continue while their members are going off and doing service as a group or do individual stuff. Like you see Monsta X, they're on a tour right now while Shonu is in the military. Another one is like Super Junior. I can point out Shiny. It's just like EXO's doing it. If you want to keep it in the K-pop world, but like you're saying, they're still in that and they're kind of not. So they kind of have a foot in the K-pop industry and kind of a foot in this like Western, not even just Western, but just like one foot in, one foot out, basically, is what I'm saying. So, like,
at the end of the day, BTS is just BTS, and they're, you know, kind of in a unique situation. And I think that they want just as much as we want for it to be a long journey, not a short one. So, in order to do that, you gotta live your life and take breaks, and, like you said, like, live outside of this persona that you've created for yourself, because he like doesn't know who he is anymore because he's been doing this for the majority of his maturing age, you know. So like, I get it, you know.
Yoongi brought up how it's even hard for him now to write lyrics basically on the same page as like Namjoon, because like, and he brought up an interesting point where he's like, he's kind of over doing stuff to satisfy other people, but also he said something that really struck me where he's like, at the beginning he lacked the skills but had all these ideas. Now he has the skills and he has nothing to say. So that really says a lot.
Yeah, I'm actually really, really looking forward to what their individual sounds will sound like.
Oh, I'm so excited.
BTS has a certain sound or whatever you want to classify it as. So I'm curious. Obviously, we've seen it already in a little bit of their like solo songs. Like they definitely have their own personalities that shine through their solo songs. But when it's really totally up to them, from like production and lyrics and whatnot, like they have creative control completely over their stuff. I think it's going to be really interesting to see that, and I'm looking forward to it. Like even you mentioned something about like, if I had my own concert it would be boring, so like, but he's thinking about having his own concert, which is so cool.
Which I kind of had a problem with that, because he was like, if I just rapped, I'm like, you know, there are actual rappers out there who just rap, it will be fine, and you're fine at rapping. I understand, like, and that's great that you want to do other stuff, but I don't think people would be upset. But also I wanted to bring up that you mentioned it, like with their solo activities, I hope they still don't get burnt out.
Yes, no, I want it should be, I think hopefully the idea of this is they're taking a break for like health and resting and whatnot, and also just self-discovery. So if they happen to produce some music through that self-discovery, that's what would be healthy and good, and what I'm looking forward to.
Because I know Jin brought up a thing where he was talking about like he felt bad just taking a rest and laying down, and then Yoongi sent him his schedule and he was like,
right.
But it's okay, Yoongi, you can also take a rest. Even the slight like schedule Namjoon was talking about, I'm like how you said, Macy, when do you have time to breathe?
Yeah. Do you sleep? Do you eat? Like, what's going on?
I don't think so. I don't think so, but I hope you do. Because like how I mentioned in a highlight thing, And as much stuff as we made fun of Blackpink for being a musical artist and how they don't make much music, I have that more with the company than themselves. They seem to be doing fine and enjoying what they're doing individually. So
yeah, I just don't think it's necessary.
I hope it turns into a thing like that.
Yeah, to be like, oh, this is the end of the world, because like this is going to be a really healthy thing for them. I think they're going to enjoy it. And I think that they love their group so much that there's no way that they wouldn't come back unless they just like, are living their lives and things get beyond what they're expecting. But I think people are like mourning this group that's like disappearing, which that's just not the case. So
I won't gonna lie, I did tweet something where like before this, it wasn't really a mourning. I think I expressed more I was exciting for their things than really being sad. So I don't remember all I said, but
yeah, initially before I watched the dinner, I was just seeing what people were saying, and I was like, oh crap, like are we done? Is this it? And that made me a little bit sad. But then once I watched it, I was like, okay, I'm fine. This is obviously they need this, and we're still going to be seeing them. They're still going to be in my realm of like what I'm looking at and whatnot. And hopefully when they come back, they'll feel refreshed and have a new story and all that fun stuff. So
exactly,
I just want them to enjoy what they're doing, because like I feel like I think June said it a couple of times where it's like, I'm sorry for not meeting your expectations. And I'm like, dude, what expectations? Because you've blown through like anything that I think anybody expected from them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you're trying to prove, but you're good. You can take it easy, because like, I certainly don't expect anything more. And like, they've done such a great job with their fandom already. Like, they're probably one of the most well-known musical acts ever. So like, I don't know how you're letting anybody down. And it's sad to me to think that they think that they're letting people down. So
especially Namjoon as the leader. And he said some other stuff too, like how when they were getting more famous, like especially with the English, it was hard for him because he really is the only one for now that is the most fluent in English. And he's like, these interviews are hard because like I can't speak for the other members because I'm not in their mind, and it's hard for translation to really like express how they want to talk about something. So like he says sometimes he felt bad because he felt like he was talking for them, and that's not really what he wanted to do, which makes sense, especially when you're trying to translate different like that's why I always enjoyed like when I watch interviews and he would get to speak his native language and they had like another translator, or like they would translate it themselves, because it gets them all a chance to express themselves. Yeah. So, and I just think it hits him the hardest because, like I said, he is like the leader. So, and in charge of a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of responsibility
on his shoulders that,
for not even being the oldest.
I think it's gone a little too far. So I think it's really good that they're going to take a break from it, despite what other people might be saying and be upset about. So,
especially towards the end when he started crying.
Oh my god! And it was I can't watch any of them cry, but like,
especially the members that barely cry, like him. Like, and I think we're kind of like the same. We're like, we don't cry a lot, but if we do, it's kind of just like, oh my god, like this is serious. Like they're really tired. Like I remember, I don't know if I said on the podcast. I think I said I scared you when we went to go see them in New York, and we were waiting for our plane. And we were just kind of sitting there. You saw me just started crying. I like, just started bawling. I mean, there was other stuff that was going on, and I expressed it was mostly because the text my brother sent me, and it was just thinking of that whole week we had. Like, I had so much fun. Like, I just got more emotional than I thought I would. But it's just like that. It's just like you can tell, like he's really tired. And I feel like I've pointed out stuff before where I said it looked like they're tired, but like I can tell they're exhausted. I really need them to have this break. And for everyone that's showing and sharing those memes and videos of him crying, please stop, because it's not funny. It's really not funny.
It's so heartbreaking, because it would be different if he was just, if they were just, like, as an example, if they were just leaving and he was just like getting emotional about the times they had and whatnot, but he is breaking down crying because he's just so tired and he doesn't have anything more to give, and he doesn't want to say that he doesn't, which is so sad.
That broke my heart more, and I'm glad I waited to watch the video, because if I watched it when it dropped like everyone else, I would have been sobbing. I know Zarya texted me, she was sobbing, but it was like, that just makes, and like sometimes I'm sitting here, I'm like, is it also my fault? Because like how I was saying earlier, how I kept expressing like, I don't know what's happening, but like they're gonna go on tour, I can't wait, and I'm like, I'm not disappointed though. If you need a break, you need a break, and that's why
I think that's
admire
the
them about
like
they're so they're at the top right now. They're so high. For them to be as high they are right now and saying like, we need a break before we literally burn out and just like give up on this completely. I respect that a lot.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between, you know, like, of course you're excited about new concerts and new albums. Like, that's part of what's keeping them going, is being excited about that stuff. And like, of course you want to support it when it comes out. But what I think people are missing is that, okay, we were excited, but now listening to what they've had to say, you should be able to understand where they're coming from. And like, some people aren't understanding. They're taking it as like, oh, they hate us, they don't want to do this anymore, they're giving up. Whereas like, no, that's not what they're saying. Like, you're not listening to what he's saying. He's just tired, and he doesn't want to just produce music to produce music. He wants it to be good music and have a message and all that stuff. So you have to take a step back sometimes. Like, every artist has art block and like gets tired. So like, do you want him just to be a machine that produces stuff that doesn't mean anything? Or would you rather give him the break that he deserves and like be happy doing it?
Because listen, we can see the difference between when they were making stuff out of their own enjoyment and for their passion, and when they were making stuff just to make stuff. And yes, I will say Dynamite and Butter and Permission to Dance. I'll say it, because you could tell the difference. And I understand what he meant by like, he was starting to lose his way. Like, I will go up, especially for Dynamite, especially the time that it was. And I'm glad they did it to like try to bring some type of joy for the fans. But like, that's where a lot of their criticism was coming from too. I don't know about Korean media, because I don't follow Korean media like that, and I can't translate the articles that do come out, so I don't know. But I know especially like longer term K-pop fans, you know how they like to pick at them like, oh, they're becoming too westernized. Which, what does that even mean again? Because K-pop is derived from Western music, so I don't understand when people accuse a K-pop group of becoming westernized. What are you talking about? It's all the same to me.
No,
Besides the way they train and put out music is different. But other than that, I don't see the difference.
No, I think it's the same as well. I think more so than anything is that they don't need to force themselves to sing in English. That's what I would have the most problem with. Like, it's not westernized. It's because the music, like,
do it because you want to, not because you're forced to.
Yeah, the pop music is westernized already. It's just like, I think what he was saying is like, I don't necessarily think that they should be singing in all English, because 90% of them don't speak English, so they can't express themselves how they want to. And the lyrics are, we talked about this in the past, the lyrics are much more basic. Like, they don't really have a meaning. It's just a fun song, which those songs have their place. But to keep going and moving forward, they're not an English group. That's not how it works. That's not their main language. That's not how they express themselves.
Because like, even with the Korean songs that I listen to and love, like, and I'm going to shout out all the translators out there that y'all be doing the work and been doing the work for years. Like, seriously, you don't understand. Thank you. Like, when I go onto like either their Twitter accounts or if they make their own websites and they just explain, like, you guys don't understand, some of these lyrics are just so deep, like within their culture and just like the things they've experienced. And like, that's kind of the same with English, like even with English artists here. Like, deep, meaningful songs, sometimes you have to understand the language, and then like if it's from a specific culture, understand the culture, and just like so many things that goes with it.
I've always hated the argument like, oh, learn English because you're so big over here. No, it is not their responsibility to learn English if they do not want to. It's your responsibility. If you want to listen to their original music, you're gonna have to put in the work to understand it.
Even if you don't want to learn Korean, just do your research. You can can find, like I said, I just shouted out a bunch of translators. You can find plenty of translators that like take their time out of the love for the artists that they enjoy to share it with the world. Or like even articles.
And that's breaking down what every little thing in their songs and music videos mean. So there's no reason to be ignorant.
Yes. I'm still upset with like also American media is taking them this long, like because K-pop's getting so big to like start translating on their own and actually hiring professional translators. And I won't even say that for K-pop because they do that for anything that is not English. So I love me some Bad Bunny. He's great. But that's just an example like outside of K-pop.
Right. Like I would consider myself a more casual listener because I don't go deep dive. I do on some, like when I want to know what something means, I'll do my research to figure it out. But you can also just enjoy music to enjoy music. You don't have to know every little thing.
Yeah, that's something I started learning as I got older, really. Like, and I think that's why I like dance music so much, because there's a lot of dance music I listen to that don't have lyrics, but you can just, you feel it. So
yeah. Well, anyway, overall, I have a very positive outlook on why they're doing this, and I think that their reason for doing it is a really good one, and I hope that they can truly enjoy the break and not have people harassing them all the time and like them be worried about it, because I know that they seem a little bit angry and agitated with how it's been received already. I hope that doesn't change anything and they take a good break and they don't regret it and like they can actually enjoy it. So
yes, and I will also be another bearer of bad news. I'll be the bad guy today for this episode. I feel like I already am. I'm sure this has to do with enlistment, to be honest. I'm sure enlistment has to do with a little bit of this. And if what I was talking about with the On promotion is true, I don't know if maybe like Jin and possibly Yoongi, because they're not that far apart in age, would have gone earlier. But because I stopped seeing a lot of articles, especially I know they changed like leadership of like trying to get them exams. So I do know they're going to have to go. I don't know for how long. I've said this on so many things. I don't like talking about their politics because I'm not Korean. I don't live in South Korea. I'm not from South Korea. So I don't feel comfortable talking about stuff I don't understand just for a musical group, because there's so much more that goes on outside the music. But anyway, I do feel like that is part of the reason for them doing solo projects, and they decided they wanted to wait until they're all 7 again and do solo projects and try to continue stuff as a group without like 1 or 2 members.
And I think that's appropriate. I think that they have every right to do that. And obviously this is a part of culture that we don't really understand, but it's important to them and their country. So if they're wanting to go and do this, they have every right to be, and you should be understanding of it, because it happens all the time with other groups. So why can't it happen with them?
It's not like this is uncommon. So again, I don't understand. It's not like they're doing anything different.
And I think we've also said in the past that it just wouldn't be the same if one of them was missing. So I kind of like the approach that they're just going to be soloists until they're all back together, because I think it would just be odd if one of them was missing. So...
And like even Jimin said in the video, he's like, yes, he's not a solo artist. He's a member of a group, but he also wants to like explore, his interests, likes and dislikes as an artist himself and grow as himself. And that growth can be put into when they come back together. So it's like, I just see it as a good thing. I mean, I know like obviously when this came out and then when I rewatched this, I don't know if you saw it, but I think they changed it because I didn't see the word hiatus in there like at the beginning, but I wasn't paying attention. So I don't know if it's still in there or not. I blame One Direction because all the media was like, oh my God, they're breaking up. It's a hiatus. There's disbanding. No more BTS. What's the next K-pop group that's going to replace BTS? Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Please.
So I just watched this last night, so it would be
I
fresh.
did too, actually.
And I saw the word hiatus and disbandment.
Okay, so it is still there.
At one point, but not in the beginning. And it was, I don't remember who was saying it, but it was like, it's we're not disbanding, or a hiatus, or whatever you want to call it. It's just like a break.
Said that.
So yeah, so I think they refer to it as a break everywhere else, and he mentions those specific words at one point, but I don't think he's saying that they're taking one. I think he's saying that's not really what it is,
Yeah. They're taking a break as a group, but just not as their own personal schedules, basically.
Yeah.
And I also saw that, like, not them, but like the company had to come back and like clear up stuff because apparently I know nothing about the stock market, and that's why I kind of wish the fees was still here. But apparently Hybe stock went down like 20%.
Well, geez.
Which is a lot. And apparently I found this Bloomberg article I'm attached at the bottom because I really feel like it's a good article talking about like a brief summary of their stocks without being too biased of like what's actually happening with BTS. But I got from that article how it said it went down 28%, wiping out $1.7 billion in market value, which is the lowest on record since they went public as a company. So yeah, and that's another thing. Like I'm proud of them for building Big Hit up and like making sure they didn't go under, but it also makes me angry how much they really depend on them. And I know they bought other companies with like other groups and they have TXT and now in Hyphen, but it's like with that, like, damn, they still really depend on BTS a lot. And that's not a good thing business wise.
No, and it's not BTS's responsibility to hold the company up.
It's really not. I don't feel like it ever was. No. To be honest, my opinion. It was important so they can continue doing what they're doing, but at the end of the day...
Well, I think, at the end of the day, I don't think it's necessarily something to be worried about either, because I think that we're experiencing a drop because of the shock that was happening, but eventually, when they start... I know June had mentioned something about like the mixtapes are going to be made into actual albums. So I'm sure that will combat some of that, which that's so cool. I would love an album dedicated to each member.
Another thing that made me think of Alyssmith, because Jim kind of, I don't know if anyone picked it up, but he was kind of saying it like jokingly where he was like, he just got like some songs in and he predicts he might be the last one to actually release the album. So I was like, is it because you're working on it or is it because of Alyssmith?
Probably both.
Probably both. So,
because I know some of the other members have been working on, especially like Tae and J-Hope, they've been working on individual stuff for a long time, but they just haven't released it yet because they're really picky.
especially Taeyang and Jungkook, because we've heard the stories of them making stuff and deleting stuff. I think Jungkook at one point actually really did have a whole mixtape and he deleted everything. So
I think I don't know if Jin has necessarily been doing that. So if he's just
probably
starting,
not, and if he doesn't want to, he don't have to.
Yeah, if he's just starting now, it makes sense for him to be last, combined with if he has to go away for a bit. So
yeah, I get it. So yeah, that's basically the whole dinner. I had more points, but I feel like me and Macy really summed up our opinions the best without me having to do all the bulletin points. So I'm glad. But yeah, any thoughts before I get into the projects that have been announced so far? I could go first. I feel like I shared what I wanted to share. It's like they keep saying, it's basically just a new beginning. Again, Macy, I'll thank you for introducing me to BTS because I knew about them on my own in 2017. I feel like I mentioned this before when they first started breaking out with DNA, but I just had no desire of really looking up them myself. So I'm glad I did. And not to say this in a bad way, because this isn't the first time, if people don't know, that they expressed they're tired. Tear was actually almost their disbandment album, if no one remembers that. So this is basically probably second. Hell, this might even be the 10th time of stuff we didn't even see. And we only know about that because when they won an award that Jin did say that where they all started breaking down the end of 2018 or 2019. I think it's 2018. Yeah, it was 2018 because it was before Persona came out. But still, so if they did at that time, I wouldn't have discovered them because I really became a fan during Idol. So that was really the first time I feel like they really pushed themselves to keep going. And it's I just feel at this point, we just keep saying, they've already proved themselves enough. It's fine for them to take a break. I honestly would have been fine even if they're we're taking a break and they're not doing anything, because they deserve that too. They deserve some rest. They deserve sleep to start eating properly and not have to worry about their image or the crazy diet culture and just all this other mess. So if some members just want to chill and honestly not do anything, that's fine with me. If they want to continue doing things, which I know they're going to, whether it's like music or if they want to do stuff outside, like if Taeyong finally wants to start acting again, if Jin wants to start acting, that is fine with me too. I feel like I'm at this point where like I will be there, and like I expressed earlier, I don't regret like being their fan. So like it's been fun, even though I haven't been with them since the beginning. I still feel like I grew up with them because like I got in my early 20s. I'm in my mid 20s now, so like I got to spend my early 20s with them, and like I just had fun. A lot of my great memories, especially with like you and like other friends we met, are just like full of so much joy. And I'm glad BTS were a part of that. And also thanks to BTS, like I feel like it helped me break the ice more because I am introverted. Like I never would have met Nafis or Brianna. I would have known Nafis, but I don't feel like we would have gotten as close because it was our like manager when we worked at the library who broke the ice for us when they're like, so did you know Simone is into BTS? And me and Nafis looked at each other like, oh, you like BTS? And that just started something when she saw Brianna at the Korean festival we went to, which I never would have went to if it wasn't for BTS. And I met her and then we started talking about it. She's like, oh, you like BTS too? And that's the same with Sam at like when we were learning the Korean language and just like other stuff I never would have thought. Like you heard us talk about like when we watched on like in the middle of the night and stuff. I've done so much I feel like I never would have done on my own or for anyone else. So like it was tiring, but it's just fun stuff I can look back on. So honestly, at the end of my rant, I'm just like happy I could share happy moments with them. Just want to thank them for that. And then like I was going to say I wish them happiness, but like it made me think back on our 1-year anniversary. I hope they're able to find contentment in their life because I feel like that's more powerful than happiness because contentment lasts longer. So that's all I really want to say.
I think to add to that is like I am happy with all of the memories I've made thus far, even if I don't get to make any more. But I'm like, obviously, I think we're hopeful and they're saying that they're going to continue. So, but I am already more than grateful for what I've already received. That like, I think it's just nice to take a step back and let them also, you know, just reminisce and grow and take a breather. So,
and like we say, we listen to other groups, but I know they're not going to hit like BTS does for us, but still. So I'm just excited for them. I'm happy for them, to be honest. Like, I'm more happy, honestly, than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel any of those feelings of like resentment or sadness or anything like that. I think it's overall 100% a positive thing. So I just hope that the rest of their fandom can see that.
Yeah, for people we don't know that lives like halfway around the world.
Yeah.
But that's the joy and beauty of it. Just never thought it would happen.
Such a unique and special connection.
Yeah. So